From the very beginning of creation, God breathed His Spirit into all living things, not just into man, but into the wind, the waters, the skies, and the creatures that fill them. While many go about their lives unaware, there are silent observers in nature who see what human eyes cannot. Animals, intuitive, pure, unburdened by pride, have a mysterious way of recognizing what is hidden from the natural world. Have you ever noticed an animal looking at you differently? Perhaps a bird followed you, or a cat sat quietly beside you for no apparent reason. Maybe it was a butterfly landing gently on your hand on the very day you needed comfort. These moments aren't just charming or coincidental. They are signs. Heaven is speaking, and creation is responding to the invisible mark of the chosen. Today we're going to uncover something both beautiful and sacred: the 9 animals that are drawn to those chosen by God. These encounters carry meaning, and when we learn to listen, we may discover that God has been speaking through His creation all along. 1. The dragonfly, a sign of spiritual emergence. At first glance, the dragonfly may seem like just another delicate creature fluttering through the air, but beneath its fragile wings lies a powerful spiritual symbol, one that speaks of deep transformation and divine timing. In the unseen language of creation, the dragonfly is often sent as a quiet but profound messenger to those who are being awakened by God. The dragonfly begins life hidden beneath the surface of the water, dwelling in obscurity for most of its early existence. In the same way, those who are chosen by God often go through long periods of anonymity, seasons of being shaped in silence, away from the spotlight, unseen and often misunderstood. These hidden years are not a delay, but a preparation, where character is forged and faith is tested. But when the time comes for emergence, the dragonfly breaks free from its underwater world and takes flight, light, graceful, and radiant. If a dragonfly has crossed your path in a moment of reflection or landed near you without fear, it's no coincidence. It's a divine sign that your time of hiddenness is coming to an end. God is calling you to rise into your purpose and embrace the life He has prepared for you. Its transparent wings speak of clarity and spiritual freedom. The dragonfly doesn't carry unnecessary weight, and neither should you. It invites you to release the burdens of the past, old pain, guilt, fear, or bitterness. Let them go, because where God is taking you, you must fly freely. This small creature arrives to remind you of a profound truth. You are ready. Your transformation is noticed, not just by heaven, but even by creation itself. The dragonfly's visit is heaven's gentle whisper. Your new beginning has arrived. 2. The eagle, a sign of calling and elevation. Majestic and fearless, the eagle is not just a bird of prey. It is a symbol of divine strength and heavenly calling. When an eagle appears, especially in moments of inner searching or doubt, it is rarely by chance. Its presence carries a sacred message. You were created to soar above the storms, not to be bound by them. Eagles are designed for altitude. While most birds seek shelter from approaching storms, the eagle does the opposite. It flies straight into the wind, using the pressure of the storm to lift itself higher. This rare trait mirrors the journey of those chosen by God. Their trials are not meant to destroy them, but to elevate them. When you are walking through seasons of hardship, isolation, or uncertainty, and an eagle appears in your sky, it is heaven's reminder that you have been called to rise above. There is a reason the eagle often flies alone. The path of the chosen is not always crowded. God sometimes separates His people to sharpen their vision, to strengthen their wings. You are being invited to leave behind shallow places and the comforts of the familiar, and to step into the heights of purpose that only few dare to reach. If an eagle has crossed your path, especially when you were wrestling with big decisions or heavy burdens, recognize it as a divine signal. It is time to stop looking down in fear and start looking up with faith. The eagle does not fly aimlessly. It soars with purpose. And so must you. Heaven has already given you the strength. Now God is calling your spirit to respond, to rise, to see further, and to live at the level you were always destined for. 3. The monarch butterfly, sign of transformation and new identity. Graceful and vibrant, the monarch butterfly is more than a symbol of beauty. It represents deep, personal transformation. When one of these radiant creatures appears unexpectedly, especially during times of transition, it often carries a quiet yet powerful message. You are becoming who you were always meant to be. The monarch's journey is one of endurance and renewal. It begins as a caterpillar, crawling through life in simplicity, unaware of the greatness it holds within. Then comes the stillness of the chrysalis, a silent season that mirrors the life of many chosen ones. It is in that hidden space, away from the world's gaze, where the most profound change takes place. And often the world doesn't understand the waiting, the silence, or the struggle. But heaven does. If you've recently encountered a monarch butterfly, especially during a time of sorrow, reflection, or spiritual awakening, take it as a divine confirmation. It's not just a passing insect. It's a symbol that your metamorphosis has been seen and acknowledged. The pain you've endured, the shedding of the old, and the courage to embrace the unknown have not been in vain. The butterfly's flight is not just a display of freedom, it is a declaration of identity. It no longer crawls, it no longer hides, it soars. And so should you. When this creature dances around you, it is heaven's gentle way of saying, your old season is over, your new name, your new nature has already begun. Embrace the lightness. Let go of what no longer serves your spirit. You've been renewed from the inside out, and now it's time to fly, fully and freely, into the life you were born to live. The white dove, sign of divine peace and presence. There are moments in life when words fall short, when the heart aches silently, when decisions weigh heavily, or when prayers feel like whispers in the wind. And in those moments, a white dove may appear. Gliding through the sky in stillness, without fear or fuss, it carries a presence far greater than its form, the unmistakable peace of God. Throughout Scripture, the white dove has symbolized purity, renewal, and the Holy Spirit. It descended from heaven when Jesus was baptized, marking him as the beloved Son. And even now, when a dove appears to a chosen one, it speaks in that same gentle voice, "You are seen. You are not alone." Unlike noisy birds that move in flocks, the white dove often travels alone. Its quiet path reflects the sacred journey of those set apart. The chosen frequently walk through seasons of solitude, seasons where the world doesn't understand their silence, their tears, or their waiting. And it's in this holy stillness that the dove arrives, not to startle, but to assure. If you've seen a lone white dove during a time of grief, change, or inner seeking, don't dismiss it. It may be heaven's subtle declaration that a new season has begun, that healing is near, that God's promises are unfolding even if your eyes can't yet see them. The dove doesn't come with thunder or dramatic signs. It comes with peace, the kind that surpasses understanding. It lands gently, stays momentarily, and leaves behind a knowing. God is here. God is near. Let its presence quiet your fears. You are guided. You are deeply loved. And no matter what surrounds you, divine peace is already on its way. The owl, sign of hidden wisdom and watchful guidance night, has a way of drawing out the quiet questions of the soul. When the world grows silent and shadows stretch long, that's when the deep things surface, doubts, memories, prayers unspoken. And sometimes, in that sacred stillness, an owl appears, not by accident, but with purpose. The owl is no ordinary creature. In many cultures and spiritual traditions, it has long been seen as a symbol of wisdom, discernment, and silent vigilance. But for the chosen, Its meaning goes even deeper. When an owl crosses your path, especially during a season of confusion, loss, or introspection, it is heaven's way of saying, you are still seen, even in the dark. Owls do not fear the night, they thrive in it. With eyes that pierce the blackness and movements that make no sound, they embody the presence of God in our most hidden places. For those set apart by Him, there will be seasons of quiet refining, times when answers are withheld, when prayers seem unanswered. But it is in that darkness that spiritual sight is born. If an owl has appeared to you, perched silently, gazing intently, or calling in the night, it is not superstition, it is confirmation. You are being watched over, not by chance, but by divine design. God is guiding you, even when you can't yet see the path ahead. The owl's stillness teaches that not all guidance comes in noise. Sometimes wisdom whispers. Sometimes the deepest truths are revealed not through what is said, but through what is endured. So if the night feels long, take heart. The eyes of heaven are never closed. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. And in your quiet obedience, wisdom is awakening, the kind that only grows in darkness under the watchful gaze of God. 6. The hummingbird, sign of joy, healing, and purity. Amid life's heaviness, there are moments when something small, almost weightless, enters your space and shifts the atmosphere. The hummingbird, swift, brilliant, and silent, is one such messenger. When this shimmering creature appears, especially in still or tender moments, it carries more than beauty. It brings a divine message. Your heart is being restored. The hummingbird is drawn to sweetness. It seeks the hidden nectar in places others overlook. And so too does God draw near to those who, even in hardship, continue to seek goodness. If one of these radiant blue-green birds has hovered near you, know that it's not by chance. It is sensing something sacred in your spirit. A quiet strength, a resilient hope, a purity that still shines despite the battle. Chosen ones often carry invisible wounds. They've walked through valleys, cried silent tears, and kept going when everything told them to stop. The hummingbird arrives as a gentle sign. Your joy is not lost, it is being renewed. Its delicate presence whispers that even after pain, there is beauty. Even after sorrow, there is song. Its colors reflect divine truth. Green for growth and healing, blue for peace and spiritual clarity. And its flight, fast, light, and free, mirrors what your soul is learning to do. Move with grace through life's challenges, refusing to be weighed down by what tried to break you. If a hummingbird has come close, especially in a moment of weariness, receive it as confirmation. You are not forgotten. You are being refreshed. God is awakening joy in you again. Not shallow happiness, but deep, lasting delight. Let this tiny creature remind you, your spirit still dances, your faith still lives, and heaven still sings over you. 7. The cat, a sign of silent recognition and protection. Not all messengers from heaven arrive with sound or spectacle. Some come quietly, with soft steps and steady eyes. The cat, independent, observant, and deeply intuitive, is one of those messengers. When a solitary cat approaches you without seeking food, affection, or attention, it may be responding to something your soul is silently radiating, the presence of the divine. Unlike dogs or birds, cats don't follow commands or respond to noise. They are drawn to what they sense, and what they sense most clearly is spiritual energy, the kind that flows from those who have walked through fire and come out refined. When a cat chooses to sit near you, follow you, or simply be present without a reason, it's not coincidence, it's recognition. In many spiritual traditions, the cat is a symbol of quiet protection, watchfulness, and mystery. Its ability to move between spaces, to observe without interrupting, mirrors how God often works in the lives of the chosen. Not always loudly, but always faithfully. When a cat rests near you, it's as if the unseen world is acknowledging your spirit. You are marked. You are guarded. Chosen ones often walk in solitude, carrying truths and burdens that few understand, but heaven never leaves them uncovered. Sometimes that divine care is shown not through miracles, but through the gentle companionship of a creature who simply stays. If a cat is drawn near in a moment of sadness, prayer, or deep thought, receive it as a quiet message from above. You are not alone. What you carry is seen, not just by heaven, but by creation itself. And in the stillness of that connection, God is saying, you are safe. You are surrounded. Even in silence, you are never unseen. 8. The dog. Sign of loyalty and spiritual companionship. There's something deeply comforting about a dog's silent presence. Not demanding, not dramatic, just steady and faithful. When a dog you don't know quietly begins to follow you, expecting nothing in return, it may be more than a curious coincidence. It may be a sacred sign. Your spirit carries something heaven recognizes. Dogs are drawn to purity, trust, and strength, qualities that are often found in those chosen by God. These individuals carry an invisible light, one not always seen by people, but unmistakable to creation. A dog's instinct senses that light, and when it walks beside you in silence, it is responding to that divine essence. Throughout history, dogs have symbolized loyalty, protection, and friendship. In the spiritual world, they reflect the nearness of God, the kind of presence that doesn't need to say much, because it simply is. For the chosen, who often feel unseen or misunderstood, the quiet companionship of a dog is a reminder. You are never truly walking alone. This kind of encounter isn't loud or grand, but it is powerful. A dog that follows you for no apparent reason may be acting as a guardian, sent, not commanded. It stays close not for food or affection, but because your soul carries a frequency that calls for protection and reverence. If this has happened to you, especially in a season of uncertainty or loneliness, take it to heart. It is heaven's way of reminding you. Your journey is not unnoticed, your heart is known, and your loyalty to God is seen, even when the world overlooks it. In that simple act of silent companionship, God speaks through the humble presence of a dog. I'm with you. Keep walking. You're surrounded by love, even when it feels quiet. 9. The horse. Sign of strength, freedom, and spiritual readiness. There is something undeniably majestic about a horse, its powerful stance, unshakable gaze, and the quiet authority with which it moves. When a free-roaming horse approaches you without fear or force, it's more than a beautiful moment. It may be heaven's way of saying, you are ready to move forward. Horses symbolize more than physical strength. They represent inner resilience, spiritual momentum, and the courage to cross into new seasons. For those chosen by God, the path is rarely simple. It is filled with testing, preparation, and waiting. But when a horse steps toward you calmly and without hesitation, it's not just curiosity. It's recognition. Something in your spirit has shifted. You are no longer standing still. You are prepared to ride with purpose. The horse doesn't appear to just anyone. Its instinct is finely tuned. It feels fear, senses unrest, and avoids chaos. But when it comes close, it's responding to your steadiness, your surrender, and your quiet confidence in God's timing. It's a sign that the season of stillness is ending, and the time for movement has begun. If you've encountered a horse during a walk in nature, a time of personal decision, or a moment of spiritual reflection, receive it as a sacred confirmation. Heaven is calling you out of hesitation and into bold faith, not reckless speed, but steady forward motion, guided by the one who shaped your journey. The horse doesn't rush, but it doesn't retreat either, and neither should you. So when its eyes meet yours, remember, you are not being pushed. You are being invited to run freely, to live boldly, and to trust that God has already equipped you with the strength to cross into everything He has prepared for you. Each of these sacred encounters, whether with a dragonfly, a dove, or a silent companion, is more than a passing moment. It's a reminder that heaven is watching, that creation responds to the mark of those chosen by God. You may have felt unseen, unheard, or overlooked by the world, but the truth is this: you have been seen, not only by the eyes of animals, but by the one who created them, and you. If even nature recognizes your calling, perhaps it's time you fully embraced it too. Thank you for joining us on this spiritual journey. If this message has spoken to your heart, we invite you to subscribe to our channel. Here, you'll find more inspiring stories, divine insights, and encouragement to help you walk boldly in your purpose. Until next time, remember, you are not alone. You are chosen, and heaven is still speaking. Chosen one, listen not with your ears, but with your spirit. This is more than a motivational video, more than a prophetic word. This is your confirmation that you are not here by coincidence. This very moment was written in eternity, and today, you're standing at the edge of divine revelation. You were never meant to live a life of survival. You were never meant to walk in mediocrity. You were born with greatness coded into your DNA. And now, heaven is calling you to rise. Yes, you're not just blessed. You are handpicked, you are marked, you are a chosen one. And the message I bring today is thunder from heaven. God has chosen you to be a billionaire, not for status, not for pride, but for purpose. This is your divine inheritance. You may have walked through seasons of lack, hardship, or feeling invisible, but none of that defines who you truly are. Every trial, every setback, every sleepless night was not a punishment, it was preparation. God wasn't ignoring you, He was equipping you. He was strengthening your spirit, sharpening your vision, and stretching your faith for something far greater than your current condition. You are not here by accident. Your life carries a divine blueprint, and within that blueprint is a calling that far exceeds what you see today. The challenges you faced weren't signs of failure. They were signals of future greatness. Like Joseph in the prison or David in the wilderness, your current chapter does not cancel your destiny. It confirms it. God is not just calling you to survive. He's calling you to lead, build, and bless. Your destiny is not tied to your bank account or background. It's tied to God's purpose for your life, and that purpose is overflowing with abundance. When heaven marks you as chosen, no earthly condition can limit what God has ordained. Your calling was written before your first breath, and now is the time to step into it. God never intended for you to live in lack. From the beginning, He authored a life of abundance for you, one rooted not in worldly striving, but in divine alignment. His plan for your wealth is precise, purposeful, and already in motion. All it takes to activate it is your agreement, your willingness to walk by faith, not by sight. In God's economy, faith is more valuable than money. It is the invisible currency that unlocks visible miracles. The world says, "Show me and I'll believe," but God says, "Believe, and I will show you." Faith is not passive. It moves, it acts, it steps out even when the way is unclear. And when you dare to act on what God has spoken, doors begin to open that no man can shut. Every time you choose faith over fear, you place a spiritual demand on the promises of God. That decision alone positions you to receive what He has already set aside for you. A flow of resources, connections, and ideas that far exceed natural logic. Faith isn't just believing in God's promise, it's responding to it. God has already placed within you everything you need to step into your billionaire calling. Your gift, the thing that comes naturally, the passion that ignites your soul, isn't ordinary, it's sacred. And when you steward it, when you refine and release it, it becomes the gateway to divine provision. You don't need to chase wealth. You need to cultivate what God gave you. That idea, that skill, that voice, that vision, it's a gold mine. And when faith meets obedience, Your gift becomes the tool God uses to build legacy, bless nations, and fulfill His covenant of abundance in your life. This moment isn't just about receiving encouragement. It's about recognizing a divine activation. What you're hearing is not a mere message, it's the ignition of a movement. God isn't just speaking to you, He's commissioning you. This is a call to rise, not only as an individual but as a trailblazer for a generation of chosen ones who will reshape culture, economy, and history through faith-fueled wealth. This movement is bigger than motivation. It's about mobilization. You're being called to walk boldly in what heaven has already declared, that you are chosen to carry influence, impact, and divine abundance. Just as Moses led people out of captivity, and Joseph turned famine into provision, your rise will become the evidence of God's faithfulness to those around you. And you're not alone. Across the world, other chosen ones are awakening. Together, we are a collective force, those who refuse to bow to fear, those who build with purpose, those who bless through prosperity. This is not the beginning of a dream, it is the manifestation of destiny. You're not just receiving revelation, you're becoming a living expression of it. This is your moment to move, and your movement starts now. There comes a point in every journey when everything shifts, when what once seemed distant becomes undeniably real. That moment is now, not tomorrow, not someday. Right here, right now, transformation is unfolding. You are not on the edge of change. You are in the middle of it. God's timing is perfect, and today, He is opening doors that no one can close. This isn't about waiting for ideal conditions. It's about trusting that when God says move, miracles follow. You've been prepared in the quiet, refined in the fire, and now heaven is declaring, you're ready, ready to receive, ready to walk in what's already been written. What once felt delayed is now being delivered. The prayers you whispered in silence, the dreams you tucked away, the visions you nearly forgot, God never did. He's been aligning people, resources, and opportunities behind the scenes. All He needs now is your yes. This isn't just a new chapter, it's a divine unveiling. When you choose faith in this moment, you step into a reality where abundance flows, favor multiplies, and transformation accelerates. The wait is over. The shift is happening. And your billionaire breakthrough begins today. Transformation doesn't happen by accident. It happens by alignment. The billions God has prepared for you aren't waiting in some distant future. They're already within reach. But to walk in that reality, you must shift your mindset, your actions, and your atmosphere. Here's how you begin stepping into the wealth God has destined for you. 1. Believe bigger. Every breakthrough begins with belief. Not belief in what you see, but in what God has said. If you continue to think small, you'll live small, even with a big calling. God is not limited by your past, your education, or your resources. The only thing that can limit His blessings is your own belief. So stretch your faith. Believe that you're not just meant to have enough, but more than enough. Believe that your gift is valuable, your vision is needed, and your future is overflowing. 2. Take inspired action. Faith without action is empty. Once you believe, you must move. That business plan? Start writing it. That call you've been delaying? Make it. That idea that won't leave you alone? Pursue it. God gives divine ideas, but He expects earthly obedience. When you take that first step, even if it's small, you activate the flow of heaven's provision. 3. Guard your environment. Your destiny requires protection. Surround yourself with voices that lift your vision, not those that shrink it. Be intentional about who you let speak into your life. A billionaire mindset can't thrive in a poverty atmosphere. Stay connected to people, messages, and environments that cultivate faith, vision, and purpose. Together, these steps don't just prepare you for wealth, They position you to receive it. Your billions are not found in someday. They're accessed through bold belief, consistent action, and a guarded atmosphere of faith. Every great calling will face great resistance. But don't mistake opposition for failure. It's actually a signal that you're nearing breakthrough. When you begin to step into what God has spoken over your life, expect the enemy to push back. Why? Because your rise threatens everything that tried to keep you small. Doubt may creep in. Delays may frustrate you. People may misunderstand your journey, but none of it can stop what God has ordained. Resistance isn't rejection, it's revelation. It reveals how close you are to the door of destiny. The heat always intensifies just before the gold is refined. Remember, David faced Goliath just before becoming a national hero. Joseph was imprisoned right before being elevated to power. Your challenges aren't random. They're refining you, sharpening your focus, and deepening your faith for the abundance ahead. So when pressure rises, don't retreat. Press in. When lies whisper, "You're not enough," declare the truth. You were chosen for this. Resistance doesn't mean stop. It means God is about to launch you. Your billionaire destiny isn't behind you. It's right on the other side of the pressure you're pushing through. Stay the course. The promise is closer than it's ever been. This moment isn't just about receiving encouragement, it's about recognizing a divine activation. What you're hearing is not a mere message, it's the ignition of a movement. God isn't just speaking to you, He's commissioning you. This is a call to rise, not only as an individual but as a trailblazer for a generation of chosen ones who will reshape the wealth God is pouring into your life. Isn't just for comfort, it's for calling. You weren't chosen to simply accumulate riches. You were chosen to build a legacy that echoes through eternity. Every blessing He places in your hands carries purpose, and every dollar is a tool to heal, uplift, and restore. Your billions are not just a reward, they are a responsibility. They're meant to break cycles of poverty, fund dreams that have been silenced by lack, and plant seeds that future generations will harvest. Just as Solomon's wisdom built a kingdom of influence, and Joseph's strategy saved nations, your wealth is meant to transform lives beyond your own. This isn't about personal success, it's about kingdom impact. When God blesses you, He blesses through you. The legacy you're building will outlive your name, your time, and your reach. Schools will be founded, ministries launched, communities rebuilt, all flowing from the overflow God is entrusting to you. You are not just a recipient of wealth, you are a vessel of divine impact. And as you walk in obedience, your life will become a living testimony that when God blesses a chosen one, generations are changed forever. This is the part where you decide, will you shrink back, or will you rise? Will you chase what the world says is safe, or walk in the supernatural? God has written your name on this calling. Heaven is moving, angels are aligning, wealth is shifting. This is not a dream, this is your moment. You are no longer a slave, but God's child. And since you are His child, God has made you also an heir. Galatians 4:7. An heir to what? Billions. An heir to how much? All of it. An heir for when? Today. If this message stirred your spirit, take action. Drop 777 in the comments as a divine signal of agreement. Subscribe to this movement of chosen ones rising. Like this video to lock in this spiritual transaction. Write down your vision. Speak it daily. Live it boldly. Chosen one, your wealth is not just for you. It's for the world. Your life will be living proof that God keeps His promises. You're not just touching billions. You're transforming them into blessings. You're not waiting. You're walking in it now. Heaven hears you. The earth will soon see you, and history will remember you. Have you ever gazed into the mirror and sensed a radiance that didn't exist before? A brightness in your eyes, a smoothness in your skin, not from any product or treatment, but from something deeper, something eternal? Welcome, chosen one. What you are witnessing is not just a shift in how you look, it's a transformation in who you are. You are no longer bound by the rules of time. Your aging has slowed, perhaps even reversed, because you are awakening to a higher spiritual reality. You are stepping into your divine inheritance, eternal vitality. This journey you are on is not about vanity. It's about vibrancy. It's about healing. It's about becoming aligned so fully with the universe that your soul rewrites the story your body once told. Let us explore why you are no longer aging, not in theory, but in the very real, profound metamorphosis unfolding within you. 1. Stress has fallen away. Your soul now breathes peace. Aging begins not on the skin, but deep within the nervous system, where tension builds, where worry lingers, where cortisol silently erodes vitality. For years, stress was your silent companion, carving lines across your face and fatigue into your spirit. But now, something extraordinary is happening. Through your spiritual awakening, the relentless tide of stress has begun to retreat. You've discovered sacred stillness, perhaps in morning meditation, in the steady rhythm of breath, reflective prayer. These are no longer habits. They are holy rituals that reshape your biology. Each inhale becomes a moment of peace, each exhale a release of what no longer serves you. Stress hormones decline, and in their absence, your body begins to heal. Your face softens, your energy returns. A glow begins to emerge, not from cosmetics, but from calm. This inner transformation is not invisible. It radiates outward. Your skin becomes clearer, your posture more relaxed, your voice more centered. People notice. There's something different, something lighter, something ageless about you. It's not magic, it's alignment. Just like the Sherpa people of the Himalayas, whose calm endurance shields them from the wear of time, you now carry a serenity that protects your youth. You're not simply managing stress, you are dissolving it, and in its place rises peace, warm, gentle, and timeless. This is the first true reversal. The unraveling of stress is the beginning of your return, not just to health, but to radiant spiritual youth. 2. Your body is becoming a temple, free of toxins. As your inner world began to shift, so did your relationship with your body. What was once just a vessel for survival is now honored as a sacred temple, a living, breathing reflection of your spirit. You no longer eat merely to satisfy hunger or fill emotional voids. Instead, you eat to nourish, to cleanse, and to awaken. Each bite is now intentional. You've moved away from processed foods, artificial ingredients, and chemical-laden drinks. In their place, you've embraced nature's abundance, fresh fruits, vibrant vegetables, healing herbs, and pure, living water. These are not just food items. They are gifts from the earth, sacred offerings that purify you from the inside out. With every clean meal and every sip of water, your body thanks you. The toxins that once clouded your energy and dulled your glow are now being flushed away. Your organs are restoring balance. Your cells are rejuvenating. Your skin no longer bears the fatigue of internal clutter. Instead, it shines with a quiet, confident radiance. But this transformation is more than physical. It is spiritual. You are reclaiming your body as a space of reverence. Each morning you rise and cleanse not just your body, but your energy. You start the day lighter, clearer, and more alive. You've aligned yourself with the timeless wisdom of the Hunza people, whose longevity and youthful appearance are rooted in toxin-free living and pristine mountain water. Their secret has never been hidden. It has always been simplicity, purity, and balance. Now that same wisdom flows through you. Your commitment to clean living is not a trend, it's a devotion. And the reward is undeniable. Vitality, lightness, and an unmistakable glow that reveals what words cannot. You are no longer just living, you are radiating. 3. Inner peace has become your new reflection. There is a quiet transformation that happens not in grand gestures, but in the stillness of your soul. As you journey deeper into spiritual awakening, You begin to notice that the chaos which once echoed within you has gone silent. In its place is something far more powerful: peace. This peace didn't arrive all at once. It came softly, like morning light creeping through a window. It grew with every whispered affirmation, every heartfelt prayer, every moment spent in gratitude. You began to let go of grudges, regrets, and the constant striving for things that never truly fulfilled you. In releasing them, your spirit found room to breathe. And as your soul calmed, your body followed. The tension in your face softened. The furrow in your brow faded. Your expression, once marked by worry or weariness, now carries the serenity of someone who is deeply anchored in the present moment. What you see in the mirror now is not just a younger version of yourself, it is a truer one. Your eyes reflect clarity, not confusion. Your smile, once guarded, now opens naturally and often. You exude a quiet joy, not because life has become easier, but because you've become lighter. You've tapped into the same current of peace that sustains the long-living Okinawans, who live with ikigai, a deep sense of purpose and harmony. Like them, you've discovered that peace is not a luxury. It is a lifeline. And now, that peace has become your reflection. It radiates from your skin, flows through your gestures, and surrounds you in a presence that others feel even before you speak. You are no longer shaped by the world's noise. You are shaped by your inner stillness. And in that stillness, you have found a beauty that time cannot touch. 4. Detox has become divine. There was a time when movement felt like obligation and health routines were boxes to check off. But now, something sacred has taken root within you. The act of cleansing, once physical, has become a divine ritual that flows through every part of your being. As your spiritual awakening deepened, you began to feel the connection between body, mind, and spirit. You no longer move just to burn calories. You move to release stagnant energy. You breathe not just to live, but to cleanse your soul with every inhale, every exhale. Daily rituals like walking in nature, practicing yoga, or engaging in breathwork have become more than habits. They are moments of alignment. You are no longer forcing your body into change. You are inviting it into harmony. Each stride, each stretch, each breath now activates your body's natural purification systems. You sweat with intention. You breathe with awareness. And as a result, your inner world grows clearer, and your outer world begins to reflect that clarity. Your skin, once dulled by unseen toxins, now glows with quiet strength. Your energy is no longer heavy, it is luminous. You move through life with the grace of someone who is deeply in tune with their essence, like the people of Sardinia who integrate clean eating and daily movement into their long, vibrant lives. You've made detoxification a way of being. It's not a temporary reset, it's a lifestyle of reverence. Through this divine cleansing, your body becomes lighter, your mind sharper, and your spirit more vibrant. And with each new day you are reminded, the more you release, the more you shine. Detox is no longer something you do, it is who you are becoming. 5. Your nutrients are now nectar for the soul. Food is no longer just fuel, it has become a sacred exchange between your body and the divine. With each mindful bite, you are no longer feeding just your physical form, you are nourishing your soul. This shift did not come through diet trends or nutritional fads. It came through awareness. You began to listen to your body's wisdom, choosing vibrant, life-giving foods that speak the language of healing. Bright fruits, leafy greens, whole grains, seeds from the earth, all are now received as blessings, not burdens. Because your energy is balanced, your body absorbs nutrients with remarkable efficiency. What once passed through unnoticed now becomes vital elixirs, strengthening every cell. Your hair grows thicker, glossier. Your nails become resilient. Your skin glows with renewed clarity. These are not surface-level changes. They are reflections of deep inner replenishment. You've aligned with the ancestral wisdom of the Tarahumara people, whose endurance and vitality stem from a diet rich in natural, unprocessed nutrients. Like them, you understand that food is medicine and that eating is a sacred act of self-respect. This reverence has transformed every meal into a moment of communion. Your body, once tired and depleted, now responds with radiance. You are not just nourished, you are revived. What you consume now becomes a mirror of who you are becoming, vibrant, balanced, and eternally youthful from the inside out. 6. Your senses are awakened to a new world. As your spirit awakens, so too does the way you experience the world. The ordinary has become extraordinary. Colors feel more vibrant, sounds more layered, and even the air around you seems charged with quiet electricity. Your senses, once dulled by distraction, are now alive with presence. This shift isn't simply biological. It is the natural consequence of living in alignment. As you've cleansed your body and quieted your mind, space has opened within you. And in that space, your perception has sharpened. You walk more slowly now, not out of lethargy, but because you feel the earth beneath your feet. You notice the texture of the breeze, the melody of birdsong, the subtle warmth of sunlight on your skin. Every moment whispers with sacred detail. This sensitivity keeps your mind agile and your body responsive. It enhances your awareness of others, deepens your intuition, and grounds you in the present like never before. You're no longer just observing life. You are communing with it. Like the sand people of the Kalahari Desert, whose legendary tracking abilities come from an almost supernatural connection to their surroundings, you too have tapped into an ancient way of being, attuned, alert, and fully awake. This heightened awareness does more than just enrich your experiences. It preserves your youth. A mind engaged, a body attentive, a soul alive. These are the qualities that keep aging at bay and vitality flowing strong. Through your awakened senses, you've rediscovered wonder. And in that wonder, you remain forever young. 7. You have released the shadows of the past. There was a time when you carried your pain like armor, quiet, unseen but unbearably heavy. The wounds of old betrayals, the grief you never voiced, the regrets that haunted your thoughts, they lingered in your body, shaping your posture, dulling your eyes, and dimming your light. But that chapter is closing. Through your spiritual awakening, you've come face to face with the shadows of your past, not to be consumed by them, but to set them free. You've allowed yourself to feel what once was buried. In the sacred spaces of journaling, reflection, and vulnerable conversation, you've poured out what no longer serves you. And with every tear shed, with every truth spoken, a layer of weight has lifted. You are not your wounds. You are the healer rising from them. This emotional release is not just therapeutic, it's transformative. Your body, once tightened by silent sorrow, now moves with ease. Your face, once hardened by emotional strain, softens. And most remarkably, your eyes, once dulled by pain, now sparkle with clarity. They shine with the brilliance of someone who has reclaimed their light, like the Cuero shamans of Peru whose luminous gaze reflects deep inner peace and spiritual cleansing. You too radiate the freedom that comes from true healing. Their eyes are known as windows to the soul, and now so are yours. The past no longer defines you. It has refined you. With each release, you step further into your essence, unburdened, radiant, and eternally renewed. 8. Energy shifts. Now harmonize your body. As you journey deeper into spiritual alignment, you've begun to notice subtle changes within, fluctuations in your energy, shifts in your mood, even changes in your physical form. These aren't random. They're sacred. They are signs that your body is responding to a higher frequency, adjusting to the flow of divine energy moving through you. Some days you feel light, almost weightless, as if gravity itself has softened. Other times your body holds more water or your appetite shifts. Rather than resisting, you've learned to listen. You understand now that these are not setbacks, they are recalibrations. Your body, like a finely tuned instrument, is being retuned to match your spirit. This energetic harmonization is supported by the sacred movements you now embrace: Tai Chi, Qigong, mindful walking, intentional breathing. Each motion becomes a conversation with the universe. Each breath balances yin and yang, restoring your internal flow. You are no longer merely exercising. You are dancing with the cosmos. Just as the Sufi mystics whirl to align themselves with divine energy, emerging refreshed, vibrant, and centered, you too are learning the sacred art of inner balance. Their graceful ceremonies lead to physical longevity and spiritual clarity. And now, that same balance flows through you. With every energy shift, your system becomes more efficient. Your skin glows. Your body feels lighter. Your mind is steady and clear. You move in rhythm with the unseen, and it shows. You are no longer fighting your body. You are in harmony with it. And in that harmony, ageless beauty arises effortlessly. 9. Your posture reflects your spiritual alignment. Without saying a word, your body speaks volumes, and now it speaks of strength, grace, and inner harmony. As your soul has risen into greater awareness, your posture has quietly followed. You no longer carry the slouch of burden or the tension of unresolved inner conflict. Instead, you stand taller, not out of pride, but out of peace. Your spine aligns naturally, your shoulders relax, and your head lifts with quiet confidence. You have become a living reflection of the alignment taking place within. This transformation didn't come from fitness goals or discipline alone. It came from healing. As your heart softened and your thoughts became still, your body responded. Every stretch in your morning yoga practice, every moment spent in mindful breathing, every gentle reminder to sit with dignity, these have slowly sculpted your physical form into a temple of equilibrium. The way you carry yourself now is sacred. It speaks of someone who knows who they are, someone grounded in purpose, centered in spirit, and open to life. You share this elegant strength with the Maasai warriors of East Africa, whose upright stature and poised movements are as much a product of spiritual tradition as physical training. Like them, your graceful posture reflects deep inner discipline and awareness. This alignment doesn't just enhance your presence, it rejuvenates you. It reduces tension, supports circulation, and infuses your movements with youthful energy. Now, wherever you go, you don't just walk, you embody balance. Your very stance is a message that true beauty is born from within, and that spiritual growth always finds its way into the physical world. You are no longer just standing, you are rising, fully aligned, fully alive. Look at yourself, not with the eyes of the past, but with the awareness you now carry. Every breath you take, every choice you make, and every moment you honor your soul is reshaping you into something timeless. You are not merely aging more slowly. You are awakening into a new kind of beauty, one that radiates from deep within. Through inner peace, spiritual discipline, and soulful alignment, you have become a living testament to what is possible when the body, mind, and spirit move as one. You are grace in motion, light in human form, a reflection of divine vitality. Thank you for walking this journey with us. Your presence here is not just appreciated, it is cherished. If this message spoke to your soul, we invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more uplifting stories, spiritual insights, and timeless truths to support your path. Together, let's continue to rise, ageless, radiant, and alive with purpose. Subscribe now, and let your light inspire others to shine. Beloved ones, welcome. Today, I invite you to embark on a journey that transcends the boundaries of human understanding, a sacred revelation whispered across centuries, a glimpse into the heart of God's eternal purpose. You may have heard much about the mark of the beast, that ominous warning in the book of Revelation. But far fewer speak of the seal of God, a divine, invisible mark placed upon his chosen ones, a mark of protection, identity, and sacred mission. Who are the 144,000? Why are they sealed on their foreheads? And more profoundly, could you already be among them without even realizing it? Today, as we explore the deep wells of Scripture and the gentle whispers of the Holy Spirit, you will discover not only who these sealed ones are, but also 3 powerful signs that you too might carry the eternal mark of God. Prepare your heart, open your spirit. Let us dive into this divine mystery together. In the vivid visions of Revelation, the Apostle John is shown a remarkable scene. An angel calling out with a loud voice saying, "Do not harm the earth, the sea, or the trees, until we have sealed the servants of our God on their foreheads." John then hears the number of the sealed, 144,000, drawn from all the tribes of Israel. At first glance, this number may seem insignificant compared to the billions inhabiting the earth. Yet in the divine narrative, 144,000 carries profound meaning. Some view it as a literal figure, while others see it symbolically. 12 tribes multiplied by 12 apostles and magnified by 1,000, a number often representing fullness or divine completeness in Scripture. Whether taken literally or figuratively, the message is clear. This group represents a complete, purified assembly of God's faithful people. These individuals are not chosen by accident or privilege, but by a divine calling rooted in their unwavering faith and spiritual purity. They are set apart, sealed for a mission during the most turbulent time the world will ever know, the Great Tribulation. Their role is not merely to survive, but to stand boldly, proclaiming the truth of God amid widespread deception and darkness. The 144,000 are a symbol of hope and resilience. They embody the fullness of God's covenant, bridging the old promises made to Israel and the new life given through Christ. Through them, God showcases the power of redemption and the invincible strength of His chosen people, those who bear His name boldly and shine His light in the darkest hour. The seal of God, unlike the terrifying mark of the beast, is not something visible to the naked eye. It is an invisible yet unmistakable spiritual imprint, a mark of divine ownership that heaven recognizes and hell fears. To be sealed by God means to be claimed, authenticated, and protected under His authority, much like a king's seal once validated and safeguarded his decrees in ancient times. This sacred seal is placed not randomly, but purposefully on the forehead, the seat of thought, will, and decision. By marking the forehead, God declares that every aspect of the believer's mind and allegiance belongs to Him. It is not a passive endorsement, but a deliberate affirmation. This soul has chosen righteousness over rebellion, truth over deception, and holiness over compromise. Scripture echoes this imagery in Ezekiel 9:4, where a mark is set upon those who mourn over the wickedness in their city. It signifies a heart that is sensitive to sin and a spirit that longs for God's purity. Likewise, in the end times, those bearing God's seal are distinguished not merely by external confession, but by the profound internal transformation of their lives. The seal of God is, therefore, far more than protection. It is identity. It testifies to an intimate relationship, a bond between the Creator and His faithful. In a world increasingly marked by division and deception, the sealed ones stand out, not by force, but by the undeniable evidence of God's character shining through them. They belong to Him, and their lives are living proof of His sovereign grace. The seal of God carries with it not only a declaration of belonging, but also a profound promise of divine protection. In the unfolding chaos of the end times, when judgment sweeps across the earth and the forces of darkness rage with unprecedented fury, those who bear God's seal stand under an unbreakable shield. They are hidden in plain sight, visible to the world, yet spiritually covered by the hand of the Almighty. Throughout Scripture, divine protection is portrayed not as an escape from hardship, but as a sustaining presence amid it. Revelation paints a vivid contrast between those who receive the mark of the beast and suffer terrible afflictions, and those who are sealed by God and preserved through the trials. The plagues and judgments that fall upon the earth cannot touch those whom God has claimed as His own. However, This protection does not guarantee a life free from adversity. The sealed will still walk through fire, storms, and deep waters. But as Isaiah 43 verse 2 reminds us, they will not be overwhelmed. Their protection lies not in the absence of trials, but in God's faithful companionship through every battle. His seal is a divine assurance that even when the world crumbles, their souls remain anchored and invincible. In the midst of global upheaval and spiritual warfare, the sealed become living testaments to God's faithfulness. They endure, not by their own strength, but by the power of the one who has marked them. Their very survival, their peace, joy, and steadfastness amid chaos, becomes a powerful witness to a world desperate for hope. Their lives proclaim a greater reality: God reigns, and those who are His will never be forsaken. Now, a profound question stirs within us. How can you be certain that you bear this sacred seal? While the 144,000 hold a unique and extraordinary role in the final chapters of history, the promise of God's seal is not limited to them alone. Scripture assures us that every true follower of Christ is marked by the Holy Spirit, a divine imprint placed upon the heart as a guarantee of our eternal inheritance. But how can this invisible mark be recognized? Though unseen by human eyes, the evidence of God's seal manifests unmistakably in a transformed life. Here are the 3 unmistakable signs. One of the clearest signs that you are marked by God is a profound and growing conviction to reject sin. This conviction is not merely a surface-level awareness of right and wrong. It is a deep spiritual sensitivity that grieves over anything that separates you from the heart of God. It reflects a soul that no longer finds comfort in the ways of the world, but longs instead for the purity and righteousness that flow from God's own character. The sealed ones, described in Revelation 14:4, are noted for their blamelessness, not because they have never sinned, but because they have chosen a path of continual repentance and alignment with God's will. Their mouths are free from deceit, and their lives reflect an authentic pursuit of holiness. It is not perfection that marks them, but an unwavering determination to turn away from what is evil and to cling to what is good. This transformation is often subtle but unmistakable. Where once there might have been apathy toward gossip, dishonesty, or impurity, there now arises an inner discomfort, a quiet but persistent voice urging a different path. In private and public moments alike, the Spirit of God gently but firmly pulls the sealed away from compromise, igniting a desire for truth, even when it costs something dearly. Living with this conviction means walking counter to the world's current, sometimes feeling isolated or misunderstood. Yet, it is precisely this longing for righteousness, this aching to honor God even when no one is watching, that reveals the seal imprinted on the heart. Those who are marked by God are not content with half-hearted devotion. They are set ablaze with a passion to reflect His holiness, step by step, day by day. Another unmistakable sign of being sealed by God is the presence of spiritual resilience, a divine strength that empowers you to endure what would otherwise crush the human spirit. This resilience is not the product of sheer willpower or natural optimism. It is the unmistakable evidence of God's sustaining hand upon your life, a grace that upholds you through trials that seem insurmountable. Those marked by God are not immune to hardship. In fact, their paths often seem harder, laden with battles, betrayals, and broken dreams. Yet through it all, they are not destroyed. They may stumble, but they rise. They may be pressed on every side, but they are not crushed. As Paul declares in 2 Corinthians 4:8-9, "We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed." This inner resilience often reveals itself in the quiet moments after disappointment, when you find yourself breathing again after devastation, praying again after heartbreak, standing again when you had every reason to give up. It is in these moments that the power of God's seal becomes visible. You endure not by your own strength, but by the unfailing faithfulness of the one who called you. Such resilience is a testimony not only to personal endurance but to the world of a greater hope. In a society where many are broken by life's storms, the sealed ones shine as living witnesses that God's grace is sufficient. Their very survival, their unwavering hope amid chaos, points beyond themselves to a Savior who never lets go. Spiritual resilience, therefore, is not just surviving. It is triumphing by the power of the Spirit. The final sign that you are marked by God is the unmistakable impact your presence has on others. When God seals a life, His light shines through in ways that cannot be hidden. It's not about charisma or natural talent. It is the quiet yet powerful reality that wherever you go, atmospheres shift, hearts are stirred, and lives are challenged, often without you even saying a word. Those who carry God's seal often notice that people are drawn to them for comfort, guidance, or encouragement. Strangers may open up with their burdens, sensing a peace that they cannot explain. Friends may seek counsel, not because of any official role, but because the wisdom and compassion flowing from a Spirit-led heart offer refuge amid life's storms. This influence is not manufactured. It is the natural overflow of God's presence within you. At the same time, the light you carry may also provoke discomfort in others. Jesus warned, "If the world hates you, keep in mind that it hated me first." Some may resist, criticize, or distance themselves from you, not because of any fault of your own, but because the purity of God's presence exposes what is hidden in darkness. Still, even opposition becomes a testament to the transforming power at work within you. Your life becomes a living testimony, a reflection of heaven's reality on earth. In workplaces, families, communities, wherever you are planted, you serve as a beacon, pointing others toward the hope and truth found in Christ. Being sealed by God means carrying His presence into a broken world, offering light where there is darkness, and inspiring others to seek the source of the light you reflect so naturally. Beloved, if you recognize these signs within your life, the deep conviction to reject sin, the unshakable resilience through trials, and the quiet yet powerful influence you carry, take heart. You are not here by accident. You are chosen by God, sealed by His Spirit, and sent into the world to shine His light in places of darkness. The journey of the sealed is not always easy, but it is glorious. You walk with the assurance that you are never alone, and that the hand of the Almighty rests firmly upon you, guiding, protecting, and empowering your every step. Thank you for joining me today on this sacred journey through God's Word. If this message spoke to your heart, I invite you to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting, faith-filled teachings designed to inspire, strengthen, and deepen your walk with Christ. Your support helps us continue sharing the hope and truth of the gospel with the world. Until next time, stay strong, stay faithful, and remember, you are sealed by the King of Kings, and nothing can ever separate you from His love. Amen. You didn't find this message by accident. No, this moment, this very breath, is sacred. You've been led here by divine orchestration because your soul was ready. You've been seeking answers, yearning to understand why your journey feels different. Why does your presence stir discomfort? Why does the noise of crowds weigh on your chest like a storm cloud? This message will reveal a truth your spirit has always known, but perhaps never fully heard. You are not lost. You are not broken. You are a chosen one, marked by divine hands, set apart with purpose. And today, you will come to understand why your soul cannot thrive in the midst of many, and why that truth is not your weakness, but your greatest protection. Before beginning the video, let's subscribe, like this video, and stay with me until the end of this message, and you will understand why you were led here. This is your moment. From the moment you took your first breath, something about you was different. While others seemed to move effortlessly within the flow of the world, you often found yourself on the edges, watching, sensing, knowing. You tried to follow the rhythm around you, but deep within, a quieter melody called you elsewhere. No matter how much you tried to blend in, there was always something setting you apart, That difference wasn't a flaw. It was a sign. You have been marked by something greater than yourself. To be a chosen one is not a title of pride. It's a sacred responsibility. It means your spirit has been wired to perceive beyond the surface, to feel what others ignore, and to carry light into places where shadows rule. It's not a path for the faint of heart. It's a road walked by the few who are called, not by comfort, but by conviction. Even before you understood your purpose, the evidence was there. You saw through facades. You questioned what others accepted blindly. While the crowd chased trends, your soul longed for truth, for something eternal. That inner ache wasn't confusion. It was a calling. And now, that calling is awakening. You were not born to follow the crowd, but to rise above it. Not to seek popularity, but to embody purpose. The loneliness you've felt, the misunderstanding you've endured, they are not punishments, but confirmations, signs that you were designed for a higher path. To be chosen means you carry a light the world cannot comprehend, and because of that light, your journey will never be ordinary. It will be sacred, intentional, marked by divine orchestration and supernatural protection. You are not like the rest, because you were never meant to be. As you continue along the path of awakening, you may have noticed something strange yet consistent. Being around too many people leaves you feeling exhausted, anxious, even spiritually suffocated. It's as if the air becomes heavier, your spirit recoils, and your inner peace slowly slips away. At times, you've questioned yourself. Am I antisocial? Is there something wrong with me? But deep down, your soul knows the truth. You are not made to move with the crowd. This sacred disconnect isn't a flaw in your design. It's a form of divine protection. You were created with a heightened sensitivity, a spiritual awareness that allows you to perceive more than just words or appearances. You sense energy. You feel intention. You detect what is unspoken, what lies beneath the surface. And because your spirit is tuned to a higher frequency, being around the masses, where chaos, unresolved wounds, and unconscious energy swirl, creates a sharp contrast. It's like light trying to blend with shadows. The vibrations simply don't align. This misalignment is not a coincidence. It's sacred strategy. The divine has intentionally set you apart, not to isolate you in pain, but to preserve the purity of your purpose. If you were constantly immersed in the noise of the world, your vision would blur, your energy would scatter, and your calling could be compromised. That's why you feel the pull to retreat after social encounters. So when you feel the tension rise in a crowd, when your soul longs for stillness, listen. That is your spirit recognizing the disconnect, not as rejection of others, but as recognition of who you truly are. You weren't meant to carry everyone's energy. You were meant to carry light. You are chosen, and your sacred separation is part of the call. If you've ever felt like life pushed you into seasons of solitude, where friends faded, relationships fell away, and the noise of the world quieted, you're not alone. In fact, you're right where you're supposed to be. For the chosen ones, isolation is never accidental. It's intentional. It's not a punishment, but a divine strategy. When God sets someone apart, He often begins by removing the distractions. Not because you're meant to be lonely forever, but because you're meant to be prepared. Great missions require great focus, and focus is forged in quiet places. Look through Scripture, and you'll see the same pattern again and again. Before Moses led a nation, he wandered the wilderness. Before Elijah called down fire, he hid in a cave. Even Jesus withdrew to mountains and gardens to pray, alone, before walking into miracles. The wilderness was not where they were abandoned. It was where they were anointed. Your isolation has purpose. It is the sacred space where God removes what no longer serves you and begins to whisper the truth of who you are. It is in these hidden seasons that your discernment sharpens, your spirit strengthens, and your calling becomes clearer. When the noise fades, the voice of God can rise. You may grieve the people who left. You may mourn the doors that closed. But understand this: Some were not meant to walk with you into your destiny. They were part of your development, not your destination. So instead of resenting your solitude, embrace it. It is your training ground, a place where heaven equips you for what's coming next. You are not being cast aside. You are being consecrated. In the stillness, the chosen are made ready. As a chosen one, your soul is equipped with more than just awareness. It's wired with profound sensitivity. You feel deeply, intensely, and often without explanation. This isn't a flaw. It's not weakness. It is a sacred gift, a divine trait embedded in your spirit to help you navigate a broken world. But with that gift comes a burden. You don't just hear people's words. You feel their pain, sense their energy, and absorb their unspoken emotions. You can walk into a room and detect tension without a single word being said. You know when someone is pretending to smile through pain, when chaos is hidden beneath silence. This is not your imagination. It is empathic sensitivity, and it runs through your very being. Yet while this sensitivity allows you to offer healing, compassion, and truth, it also makes you vulnerable. Without spiritual boundaries, you begin to carry what was never yours: grief, anxiety, anger, fear. Over time, it becomes overwhelming. Exhaustion follows, and you're left wondering why simply being around others leaves you feeling drained. That's why the divine often calls you away from the crowd. It's not because you lack love for people. It's because your heart is so open, it risks being overrun. The world is not kind to open spirits. Many project their wounds without knowing it, and you, being tuned into the soul-level frequency, absorb far more than most ever will. Solitude becomes your sanctuary. In stillness, you release what's not yours. In sacred spaces, your soul is cleansed and your light restored. You must learn to protect this gift, not in fear, but in wisdom. Because your empathy isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. And if you are to lead others into healing, you must first learn to guard your own light. With great calling comes great responsibility. And for the chosen one, that responsibility begins with clarity. The path you walk isn't common. It isn't crowded. It's narrow, intentional, and sacred. And for you to fulfill what God has assigned, your vision must remain clear, focused, and undistracted. This is why your life cannot be cluttered with noise. Distractions may seem harmless, even pleasant at times. But for someone like you, who carries divine instructions, distractions can be dangerous. They blur your inner vision, scatter your energy, and drown out the still, small voice of the divine. You cannot afford to be pulled in every direction. Your mission is too important. When you felt the sudden urge to withdraw from social gatherings, when certain conversations felt hollow or draining, that was your spirit recognizing the dissonance. That discomfort is not random. It's a holy signal reminding you that not every room deserves your presence, and not every voice deserves your attention. Because every moment you spend in misaligned spaces costs you clarity. And clarity is your spiritual compass. Your assignment, whether it's to heal, lead, teach, or awaken others, requires a sharpness that only solitude can sharpen. In the quiet, you hear what heaven is saying. In the stillness, divine blueprints are revealed. Without that space, your path becomes foggy, and your power diluted. The enemy knows this. That's why confusion often comes wrapped in busyness and shallow connection. But you weren't made for surface-level living. You were made to move with intentionality, to walk in alignment with God's rhythm, not the world's rush. So protect your clarity. Guard your focus like treasure. Because your next step may not just change your life, it may awaken someone else's. You've asked the questions in silence. Why is it taking so long? Why do others seem to move ahead while I remain hidden? But what you may not have realized is that your delay is not denial. It is divine orchestration. As a chosen one, your life doesn't follow the patterns of the world. You don't move on society's schedule. You move on heaven's timeline. And while that timing may feel slow, confusing, or even painful, it is always perfect. The divine is never in a rush, because what he is building in you is meant to last. Every closed door, every unexpected ending, every quiet season of your life has been part of a greater design. You are being pruned, refined, prepared, not only for your purpose, but for the weight of it. Because the truth is, your calling demands maturity, depth, and spiritual strength that can't be developed overnight. What looks like a detour is often a divine redirection. While others may chase opportunity, your steps are ordered. God removes people before they distract you. He delays blessings until your foundation is strong enough to hold them. He conceals you in obscurity until you're spiritually fortified for visibility. This is protection, not punishment. So when life feels still, when you sense pause instead of progress, remember, seeds don't bloom the moment they're planted. They grow silently beneath the soil, hidden, but alive. Trust the timing. He who called you knows exactly when to release you. And when that moment comes, you won't have to force anything. You'll simply step into what was always meant to be. Your life is unfolding by divine design, and your season of revealing is drawing near. There's a reason your voice hasn't reached the masses yet. A reason your gifts have remained tucked away in quiet places. A reason your light has been seen only by a few. You have been hidden, not forgotten, not overlooked, but intentionally concealed by the hand of the divine. Being chosen does not always mean immediate visibility. In fact, for many, it means just the opposite. Before elevation comes preparation, and before preparation can complete its work, there must be isolation, refinement, and growth, away from the spotlight. God hid you because he was protecting what he placed inside of you. He was building strength in your silence, shaping your character when no one was watching. He was teaching you to stand without applause, to trust his voice without needing validation, to walk with purpose even when no one understood. You weren't being buried. You were being planted. And just like a seed must remain underground before it breaks through the soil, your hidden season has been necessary. It is in the darkness where roots grow deep. It is in obscurity that resilience is born. When the time is right, and only when it's right, God will reveal what he has been preparing. You will not need to push your way forward. The doors will open because heaven will open them, and you will walk through, not as someone desperate to be seen, but as someone fully equipped to serve. So don't despise your hidden season. It was never meant to confine you. It was designed to complete you. Because what is unseen by the world is still known by heaven. And when heaven reveals you, the world will see the power of a life protected, preserved, and prepared on purpose. So now breathe. Stand in the fullness of who you are. You were not made to blend in. You were never meant to be understood by everyone. You were marked, refined, and commissioned for a purpose only you can fulfill. The separation you've endured, it is not your prison, it is your sanctuary. The silence you've walked through, it was not abandonment, it was divine intimacy. You were set apart because you were set above. Now go forth, not seeking the crowd's approval, but carrying heaven's assignment. Move with clarity, speak with purpose, shine without apology. Because chosen one, your time has come. Chosen one. This is no ordinary moment. You are not listening this by accident. Right now, heaven is leaning close, whispering secrets of destiny into your spirit. If your heart is stirring and your spirit quickening, know this. God has drawn you here for a purpose. Something profound, miraculous, and life-altering is about to be birthed into your reality. And it is happening within hours. The heavens are already moving. The prayers you've whispered in the stillness of the night. The dreams you've dared to nurture even when hope seemed faint. They are coming to life. The wait is over. This is your appointed time. The shift you have yearned for is no longer a distant hope. It is already set in divine motion. Are you ready? Because your life is about to transform beyond anything you can imagine. You've been holding on, through silent prayers, quiet tears, and questions no one saw but God. Every moment of waiting was not wasted. It was sacred preparation. And now, without warning, the shift you've long anticipated has arrived. Not in theory, not in the future, but now. The breakthrough isn't on the way. It's already unfolding. You're walking into it, moment by moment, even if you can't yet see the full picture. The atmosphere has changed. What once felt delayed is now divinely timed. What seemed closed off is beginning to open. The season of striving is giving way to supernatural release. Take a deep breath. This is the beginning of your new chapter. You don't need to force it. Just align your heart, stay grounded in faith, and watch as God completes what He started. You're not waiting anymore. You're stepping into fulfillment. Before your breakthrough fully manifests, heaven often sends quiet confirmations, gentle nudges that your spirit recognizes long before your eyes can see the change. These signs may come as repeating numbers, 111, 222, 555, or as phrases that echo unexpectedly throughout your day. They may be subtle shifts in your atmosphere, sudden moments of peace, or an unshakable sense that something is about to change. These aren't coincidences. They are whispers from the divine. God speaks in patterns, symbols, and timing, guiding you step by step, aligning your heart with what is coming. Often, you'll feel it before you see it, a stirring in your soul, a renewed sense of hope, a quiet voice within that tells you to stay ready. These moments are sacred. They are heaven's way of saying, hold on, your breakthrough is near. So pay attention. Tune your heart to the quiet language of the Spirit. The signs are around you, gently confirming that you are walking into the promise. Don't dismiss the small things. They are often the markers of something far greater about to unfold. Your faith has not gone unnoticed. Every moment you trusted God in lack, every time you sowed seeds without seeing a harvest, was seen and recorded. Now, the first wave of your breakthrough is approaching, and it carries financial provision unlike anything you've experienced before. But this isn't just about money. It's about freedom. Freedom to move without fear, to dream without limits, and to step fully into your God-given purpose. Provision is being released not merely for survival, but for expansion. You are entering a season where resources meet assignment. The blessing may come through unexpected channels, a business opportunity, a forgotten investment, a phone call you weren't expecting. Don't limit how God can move. He is not confined to predictable methods. He often uses the unlikely to prove that it was His hand, not human effort, that opened the floodgates. Stay open, stay faithful, and above all, stay positioned. The doors to abundance are unlocking. The shift is already happening, and when it reaches you, you'll know. This was divine. This was your moment. This was the breakthrough sent with your name written on it. As the sun sets and the world begins to quiet, a sacred stillness fills the air. It is in this holy hush that the spiritual realm becomes most active. A divine portal opens, inviting you to step into alignment with heaven's plans. In these evening hours, distractions fade, and your soul becomes more receptive to God's whispers. This is not just a peaceful moment. It is a window of supernatural access. When your heart is still and your spirit is tuned in, what you speak, believe, and declare carries accelerated power. Your words become seeds, your prayers become keys, unlocking doors in both the seen and unseen realms. God has designed this time for intentional creation. Write the vision, speak the promise, visualize what has yet to manifest. The sacred evening is not for idleness. It is for divine agreement. As you align your desires with God's will, the atmosphere begins to respond. Miracles do not always shout. Often they whisper. And if you listen closely during this sacred time, you'll feel the stirrings of heaven preparing to release what has long been waiting for your faith to claim it. As the world slips into slumber and silence blankets the night, a sacred hour emerges. Midnight, the moment where heaven touches earth in profound intimacy. While others rest, your spirit awakens to something deeper. This is the hour of healing, restoration, and divine awakening. In this stillness, God's presence moves without resistance. Physical wounds, emotional burdens, and spiritual fatigue begin to lift as divine light penetrates the darkness. You are not just being comforted, you are being renewed. The same God who created the stars now reaches into your soul to restore what has been broken and forgotten. But healing is only the beginning. This midnight hour also carries revelation. Visions may come, clarity may rise, and truths long buried may resurface. It's a sacred invitation to ascend, to see beyond your pain and understand your purpose through a higher lens. Don't ignore what you feel stirring within. Lean into it. This is more than rest. It is revival from the inside out. As your body lies still, your spirit is being awakened for what's next. Healing, clarity, and purpose are all rising with the midnight wind. Some chains are invisible, tied not to your body, but to your heart. Fear, shame, guilt, and lingering pain from the past often hold us captive in ways no one else can see. But in this sacred moment of breakthrough, those emotional chains are being broken. God is not only changing your circumstances, He is healing the inner places you've hidden. The wounds you've carried silently, the memories that haunted you, the doubts that whispered you'd never be enough. He sees them all, and He's come to set you free. This freedom doesn't shout. It flows like a gentle river, washing away the residue of old burdens. You'll begin to notice it in subtle shifts, lighter thoughts, clearer emotions, a sudden sense of peace where anxiety once lived. As you let go of what has held you back, you create space for what God wants to place within you: confidence, clarity, and wholeness. This is not temporary relief. It is the beginning of deep transformation. You were never meant to live shackled by your past. Now, you're stepping into emotional freedom, the kind that makes room for joy, purpose, and a life fully alive. There are moments when God draws back the veil between the natural and the eternal, allowing you to glimpse dimensions far beyond what the eyes can see. In this sacred season, you are being granted access to a deeper realm, a place where divine wisdom flows freely and truth is revealed without filter. This is more than just insight, it's revelation. Through vivid dreams, inner visions, and spiritual stillness, you will begin to perceive life through heaven's lens. Patterns that once confused you will now make sense. Questions you've carried for years will be answered in a single moment of clarity. This is divine intelligence, a download from God Himself to prepare you for what's next. You may feel yourself awakening with ideas, strategies, or creative visions you never imagined. These are not coincidences. They are keys, tools for your next level, birthed not from logic, but from alignment with the Spirit. This isn't fantasy or imagination. It's a sacred invitation to walk in greater awareness of your purpose. As you receive this wisdom, you'll move with confidence and peace, knowing you are guided by something far greater than human understanding. In the quiet of night, as your body rests and your spirit opens, God may take you beyond the boundaries of time. Through vivid, lucid dreams, you may begin to see glimpses of the road ahead, visions of your future shaped not by fear, but by divine design. These dreams are not random. They are not mere reflections of your subconscious. They are prophetic previews, given by God to prepare you for the choices, challenges, and blessings that lie ahead. You may see faces you've not yet met, doors that are about to open, or moments of decision that require clarity. These insights are meant to guide you, not to control your steps, but to align your heart with heaven's timing. When you awaken, don't dismiss them. Write them down. Reflect. Pray. These visions are maps, sacred instructions from the Spirit. God is showing you what is possible when you walk in obedience and faith. You are not wandering blindly. You are being led by the one who knows the end from the beginning. And now, through these divine dreams, your future is unfolding right before your eyes. There comes a moment in your journey when striving no longer serves you. when effort must give way to trust. This is that moment. God is inviting you to stop pushing and start flowing, to surrender your need for control and step into divine alignment. Alignment is not passive, it's deeply intentional. It means syncing your thoughts, actions, and desires with the rhythm of heaven. When you flow with God instead of resisting His timing, doors open without force, clarity comes without chaos, and progress accelerates without pressure. Often, the breakthrough you're waiting for is already in motion, but resistance slows its arrival. Surrender clears the path. When you release your timeline, your expectations, and your fear, you make room for God's hand to move freely in your life. This season is not about forcing outcomes. It's about recognizing the current of God's grace and letting it carry you. You'll begin to sense a holy momentum. Decisions become easier, burdens lighter, and peace deeper. You were never meant to navigate this alone, so breathe, release, and trust. In the flow of divine alignment, everything begins to shift in your favor. God often works in ways that defy logic, not through the expected, but through the extraordinary hidden in plain sight. The miracle you've been praying for may not come wrapped in grandeur, but through simple, unexpected moments that carry divine power. Just as ravens fed Elijah and a widow's oil never ran dry, your provision may arrive from sources you never considered. A forgotten opportunity, a kind gesture from a stranger, a delayed payment suddenly released. These aren't coincidences. They are orchestrated signs that heaven is moving on your behalf. God does this so you'll know the blessing didn't come from your plan, but from His. He's not confined to paychecks, people, or predictable outcomes. He is the God of surprises, of streams in the desert, and abundance in famine. So stay open. Don't overlook the small or unlikely. What appears insignificant may be the very door God is using to change your life. In His hands, the ordinary becomes miraculous. Your breakthrough may look different than you imagined, but it will be undeniable. And when it arrives, you'll see His fingerprints all over it. This is your moment, not just to hope, but to move. Every sign, every whisper, every shift in your spirit has been preparing you for what's unfolding right now. God hasn't forgotten you. He's been working behind the scenes, aligning everything for your good. Now it's your turn to respond. No more hesitation. No more fear. Step forward boldly, knowing the heavens have already released what you've been praying for. The door is open. The way is clear. The breakthrough is not coming, it's here. Walk in faith, because what's ahead will exceed every expectation. While you were waiting, God was working. While you were praying, He was positioning. And now the season has shifted. Your life will never be the same. As you embrace this new chapter, remember, you are not alone. We're honored to walk this journey with you, to speak life into your spirit, and to celebrate every miracle that unfolds along the way. Thank you for being here. If this message stirred something within you, we invite you to stay connected. Leave a comment below and share your testimony or what you're believing for. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel for more spirit-filled encouragement, divine insights, and breakthrough messages designed to lift your faith and speak directly to your heart. Miracles are moving. Breakthrough is here. You are chosen. You are ready. Now step into it. There's a silent cry within you, an unshakable knowing that you were made for something more. You pray, you meditate, you seek alignment. And yet, something feels stuck. You aren't broken, you aren't lacking, but something is interfering with the frequency of your soul. While others move through life oblivious to what enters their bodies, you've noticed subtle signals, a sense of unease after certain meals, fogginess during spiritual practices, or dreams once vivid now veiled in mist. These aren't coincidences, they are signs, urgent messages from your higher self. A cosmic warning echoing through the temple that is your body. You cannot eat everything. What you consume is no longer a matter of health alone. For the chosen, those called to carry divine light, food becomes a spiritual battlefield. And in this war, your awakening is the target. Before beginning the video, let's subscribe, like this video, and stay with me until the end of this message, and you will understand why you were led here. This is your moment. D in factories. They were corrupted in energy, their natural frequencies twisted to create barriers between you and the divine realms. You are not just battling calories or toxins. You are navigating a covert spiritual war. You are not ordinary. Your soul vibrates at frequencies the world rarely encounters. You carry codes, ancient blueprints, dormant yet divine, that can shift timelines, awaken others, and heal on a multidimensional scale. And that makes you dangerous. For millennia, powerful forces, seen and unseen, have sought to dim the light of the chosen, not through violence, but through subtle energetic sabotage, not through weapons, but through what we eat, because what enters the body shapes the temple, and a weakened temple cannot house divine light. Let us unveil the 5 hidden enemies of your soul, foods that, on the surface, appear harmless but energetically devastate your spiritual architecture. 1. Additives that cloak the aura in darkness. At first glance, artificial additives, preservatives, colorings, flavor enhancers, seem like harmless elements of modern food. They're designed to preserve shelf life, enhance taste, and make food more appealing. But for those walking a higher spiritual path, the impact of these substances goes far beyond the physical. For the chosen, these additives carry a vibrational dissonance that disrupts the body's energetic harmony. They don't just affect the organs, they interfere with the flow of energy through the chakra system, especially around the third eye and crown chakras. Over time, a dull, heavy fog begins to settle in your auric field, blurring your ability to receive divine insight, clouding your intuition, and dimming the vibrancy of your spiritual perception. This interference may manifest as confusion, spiritual fatigue, or even a sense of disconnection from your higher self. What's most dangerous is how subtle it all feels. Because the effects creep in gradually, it's easy to dismiss them as emotional or mental strain. But when you begin to remove these additives, the shift is undeniable. Light returns to your inner world. Clarity sharpens. You start to hear again, clearly, purely, deeply. And in that renewed silence, your soul begins to speak once more. 2. Meat from suffering. The ingested trauma. Every living creature is a vessel of energy. Animals, like humans, store emotional experiences in their bodies, especially fear, pain, and trauma. When they are raised in confined spaces, exposed to cruelty, deprived of natural rhythms, their suffering saturates their flesh at a cellular level. That energy does not disappear. When we consume meat from these animals, we ingest more than nutrients. We absorb the energetic imprint of their suffering. That vibration, dense and chaotic, becomes part of our own energetic field. For the average person, it may result in emotional heaviness or unexplained anxiety. But for the chosen, who carry heightened sensitivity, the effect is far more intense. The trauma absorbed from such meat lodges itself in the heart and solar plexus chakras, regions essential for self-worth, compassion, and spiritual identity. Over time, it dulls empathy, clouds purpose, and blocks intuitive flow. It becomes harder to feel love, to trust inner guidance, or to manifest with clarity. Yet when these meats are removed, the shift is profound. The heart begins to reopen. Emotional weight lifts. Many experience a deep return to peace, as if a layer of static has been cleared. What remains is a quiet strength, a clearer voice within, and the freedom to feel again. 3. Modified grains. In the fog of forgetting, grains were once sacred, life-giving gifts from the earth, rich in natural energy and harmony. In ancient times, they were consumed in their purest form, nourishing not only the body but also supporting clarity of mind and balance of spirit. But today, the grains we eat have changed dramatically. Through decades of genetic modification, chemical treatment, and hybridization, their energetic essence has been distorted. Modern wheat, in particular, has become one of the most spiritually disruptive foods for the chosen. Though still filling to the stomach, it now carries a vibrational density that clouds the mind and dulls spiritual perception. The effects are subtle at first: a slower thought process, scattered focus, restless sleep. But over time, these grains form an energetic fog, settling over the third eye and crown chakras. For those sensitive to energy, this fog blocks intuitive insight, muffles inner vision, and severs the once clear line of communication with the higher self. Meditation feels more like effort than connection. Dreams lose their color and meaning. Yet when these modern grains are removed from the diet, something remarkable happens. The fog begins to lift, clarity returns, dreams become vivid again, and spiritual awareness reawakens like the sun breaking through after a long, dim morning. 4. Industrial dairy. Smothering the chakra system. Dairy has long been viewed as a symbol of nourishment and comfort. For generations, it has been a staple in many cultures, tied to warmth, family, and tradition. But the dairy products we consume today are far removed from that natural legacy. Mass-produced, chemically altered, and sourced from animals subjected to emotional and physical distress, modern dairy carries a frequency that is dense, disruptive, and spiritually smothering. For the spiritually sensitive, this energy does more than weigh down the body. It creates an invisible barrier across the chakra system. Hormones, antibiotics, and emotional residues from suffering animals accumulate energetically, forming a thick etheric film. This energetic layer acts like a spiritual mucus, especially around the heart, throat, and thymus areas, dulling your ability to receive and radiate divine love. Over time, this interference causes a numbing effect. Compassion wanes, spiritual fatigue sets in, and the ability to feel clear emotional guidance fades. The heart no longer pulses with the same resonance. The voice of intuition becomes distant. But when dairy is removed, the difference is striking. The chakra system begins to breathe again. The heart reopens, clarity flows, and many experience a deep emotional release, followed by a renewed sense of inner peace and spiritual connection. 5. Energetically distorted foods. The inversion of light. Some foods don't raise concern at first glance. They aren't processed with visible additives, nor are they marked as genetically modified. Yet beneath their surface, something is deeply off. These are the foods that have undergone subtle, almost undetectable energetic manipulation, altered not in appearance, but in vibration. For the chosen, these foods are especially dangerous. Their frequency has been inverted, spinning against the natural current of life force energy. When consumed, they interfere with your auric field, disrupting its natural rotation. This phenomenon, known in spiritual circles as auric polarity inversion, causes your energy field to spin in reverse, away from divine alignment. This reversal may feel like resistance in everything you do. Despite your prayers, meditations, or inner work, progress seems to stall. Intuition feels off, manifestations weaken, and energetic protection falters. It's as if you're constantly pushing against an invisible current, unable to align no matter how strong your intent. But once these foods are removed, your energetic field gradually restores its natural flow. Harmony returns. Spiritual messages come through more clearly. You begin to feel aligned again, not just with yourself, but with the divine blueprint written deep within your soul. When these 5 spiritually disruptive food groups are removed from your life, the transformation that follows is both profound and undeniable. It's not merely a change in diet, it's a shift in vibration, in perception, in identity. You begin to notice subtle awakenings within you, as if long dormant parts of your soul are finally stirring to life. Your spiritual senses sharpen, the third eye becomes more active, your inner vision clears, and the dreams that once faded into forgetfulness now return with vivid color and sacred meaning. Divine messages flow more freely, no longer clouded or distorted. You begin to feel lighter in your body, but even more so in your energy. The heaviness, once unnoticed, lifts like fog after a long night. For the chosen, this cleansing often triggers a deeper activation. Intuition strengthens. Manifestation becomes more fluid, more immediate, as if the universe hears you more clearly. That sense of divine disconnection fades, replaced by a calm and steady awareness that you are, once again, in sync with your higher self. The connection you once struggled to maintain no longer feels like effort. It becomes your natural state, alive, responsive, and full of sacred presence. You didn't stumble upon this message by accident. Your soul was guided here. Perhaps you felt it for years, a quiet pull, an unshakable sense that you were meant for something greater. The repeating signs, the vivid dreams, the deep restlessness, they've all been calling you to remember who you truly are. Now is the moment of activation. The world is shifting, and the chosen are being awakened one by one. This is your invitation to rise, not tomorrow, but today. You are being called not just to believe, but to embody your purpose, and it begins with reclaiming your sacred vessel. This is more than information. It's a divine invitation. If your heart stirred while reading this, if something deep within whispered, "This is truth," then your initiation has already begun. The awakening isn't a dramatic event. It's a quiet yes to the call echoing in your soul. By choosing to release what dims your light, you are stepping into alignment with your higher self. This is the first step on a sacred path, a return to clarity, to purpose, to power. The chosen do not awaken all at once. They awaken by choice. And now, that choice is yours to make. Every bite you take is a choice between stagnation and ascension. You can continue eating what dims your light, or you can become the living temple your soul longs to inhabit. As you let go of what no longer serves you, you will notice synchronicities multiplying, dreams glowing with divine messages, a heart beating in harmony with the cosmos, a sense of, "I have finally come home." This journey is not about restriction, it is about reclamation. Reclaiming the sacredness of your temple, the sharpness of your gifts, and the clarity of your divine purpose. The transformation begins with a single decision. What you eat, what you allow, what you claim. So now I ask you, will you continue to eat blindly, or will you feast on light and become unstoppable? The universe awaits your answer. Life doesn't move in a straight line. It unfolds through different seasons, challenges, and moments of deep realization. For many, society defines success by age milestones. Graduate in your 20s, peak in your 30s, and settle down by 40. But what if the real journey doesn't begin until 40? What if your 40th birthday is not a countdown to aging, but a divine appointment for becoming? If you've always felt different, out of place in shallow conversations, drawn toward deeper meaning, or burdened by an invisible calling, then this message is for you. You are a chosen one, a soul with a sacred purpose, and your life truly begins at 40. Let us walk together through the 8 profound reasons why this chapter of your life might just be the most important one yet. 1. You have mastered the art of letting go. In the earlier chapters of life, the instinct to hold on is strong. We cling to relationships, identities, and expectations, not always because they nourish us, but because they're familiar. Even when something hurts, we hesitate to release it, fearing the emptiness that might follow. Letting go feels like failure, like giving up on what we once hoped would last. But something shifts as you step into the wisdom of 40. You begin to see letting go not as loss, but as liberation. You recognize that release is not about giving up. It's about making room. Room for peace. Room for joy. Room for the person you are becoming. With each heartbreak, every disappointment, and every season of pain, you've gathered something precious. Clarity. You've learned that holding on to what no longer serves your growth only weighs you down. And now, you no longer mourn what leaves. You bless it, thank it for its lesson, and gently open your hands. This is not a lesson learned overnight. It's carved from years of living, of wrestling with change, and of slowly awakening to the truth that your worth is not tied to what you keep, but to what you're willing to release for the sake of your becoming. Letting go has become a quiet strength in your life. It has shown you how to trust the ups and downs, how to let go without fear, and how to make room for what truly belongs. In doing so, you've found real peace. 2. Time no longer controls you. For much of your life, time felt like a race. There was always a clock ticking, subtle, relentless, pushing you to do more, to be more, to reach certain milestones by certain ages. Whether it was career, relationships, or personal success, everything seemed urgent, as if you were falling behind some invisible standard set by society. But now, as you step into the deeper awareness that comes with 40, something profound begins to shift. You start to understand that the pressure was never real. It was only a story you were taught to believe. Time is no longer your master. It becomes your companion. Instead of rushing, you begin to trust. Trust that your life is unfolding exactly as it should. Trust that divine timing governs every chapter, every opportunity, and every pause. This realization brings freedom. The anxiety that once lived in the gap between where you are and where you thought you should be begins to fade. You become grounded in the present, no longer haunted by the past or obsessed with the future. You move with intention now, not urgency. You understand that what is meant for you will never miss you. And in that stillness, in that surrender, you finally reclaim your rhythm, not by speeding up, but by letting go of the need to rush. Time no longer controls you. It flows with you. 3. You discover your true purpose. In the earlier seasons of life, purpose often feels elusive. You try on different roles, pursuing careers, chasing dreams, achieving goals, all in hopes that one of them will finally feel like home. Yet, despite your efforts, something always seems to be missing. A quiet ache lingers beneath the surface, whispering that there's more to who you are than what the world sees. At 40, that whisper becomes a revelation. Suddenly, the scattered pieces of your past begin to make sense. The struggles that once seemed random, the paths that ended abruptly, and the years that felt wasted, all of it begins to reveal its purpose. What once looked like detours now appear as necessary steps in your becoming. You realize that your pain was not punishment, but preparation. Every setback sharpened your insight. Every redirection refined your calling. And now, for the first time, you feel a sense of inner alignment, a deep knowing that you are exactly where you're meant to be. This is the moment when purpose stops being a question and starts becoming a calling. It's not about titles or applause. It's about impact, meaning, and living in harmony with your soul. You no longer chase purpose outside yourself. You remember it from within. You step forward not with uncertainty, but with conviction, because you've been prepared for this. And now, you are ready to walk in your truth, not to prove anything, but simply to fulfill what was always yours to carry. 4. You no longer seek external validation. There was a time when being seen, understood, and approved by others felt essential. You shaped parts of yourself to fit in, softened your voice, concealed your doubts, and wore masks that kept you feeling safe. Praise felt like affirmation, criticism like rejection. And so, you lived much of your life seeking permission to be who you truly were. But with age and experience comes clarity. And at 40, something within you shifts. You begin to understand that real freedom doesn't come from being accepted by others. It comes from accepting yourself. The validation you once craved from the outside begins to rise from within. You no longer feel the need to explain your choices or justify your path. The opinions that once shaped you now pass through you, no longer holding power. This new confidence isn't loud or performative. It's quiet, rooted, and unshakable. It comes from knowing who you are, flaws, gifts, history, and all, and choosing to honor that truth unapologetically. You stop bending to expectations that no longer serve you. You let go of the need to be liked, and instead focus on being real. You no longer chase approval because you've realized that worth isn't given. It's remembered. Now you walk your path with integrity. Whether others understand or not no longer defines you, because your value isn't found in their applause. It's found in your own alignment with your truth, your peace, and your purpose. 5. Your spiritual awakening deepens. Spiritual awakening often begins as a subtle stirring, a quiet pull towards something greater than yourself. In your younger years, it may have shown up in moments of wonder, a longing for deeper meaning, or unexplainable feelings that whispered of something beyond the physical world. But life's noise often drowned those whispers out. Now, at 40, those whispers grow louder, clearer. The distractions that once consumed your energy begin to fade, and in their place emerges a hunger for truth, stillness, and connection. You no longer chase answers in the outer world. Instead, you turn inward, and there, you find wisdom waiting. The challenges you've faced, the synchronicities you've witnessed, the paths that led you through both light and shadow, none of it was random. You begin to see a divine pattern woven through it all. What once felt chaotic now feels orchestrated with sacred precision. Your intuition sharpens, your dreams carry meaning. You find yourself drawn to practices that nourish your soul, whether it's prayer, meditation, journaling, or simply moments of silence beneath the sky. These are no longer habits. They are lifelines. You begin to trust the guidance that flows from within. You understand that the divine doesn't live somewhere far away. It lives within you. And as you deepen this connection, you begin to live with a sense of peace, purpose, and profound alignment. This is no longer just an awakening. It is a return, a homecoming to your truest self. 6. Your energy becomes magnetic. As you grow into yourself, you begin to sense the world differently, not just through sight or sound, but through energy. At 40, your awareness sharpens. You notice how people make you feel, how environments affect your peace, and how your own presence carries weight. This isn't imagination, it's intuition coming alive. In earlier years, you may have ignored the heaviness around certain people or tolerated spaces that drained your spirit. You stayed out of obligation, habit, or fear of conflict. But now you move differently. You protect your energy like it's sacred, because you finally understand that it is. This new awareness transforms how you live. You no longer give your time to relationships that pull you down or conversations that leave you empty. Instead, you seek alignment, harmony, flow. You know when something resonates with your soul and when it doesn't, and you honor that without guilt. As you become more intentional with your thoughts, emotions, and actions, your energy shifts. It strengthens, it clarifies, and that clarity becomes magnetic. You begin attracting people, opportunities, and experiences that reflect your growth and support your journey. You are no longer just reacting to life, you are shaping it. With focused energy and conscious presence, you create space for joy, peace, and purpose to thrive. Your energy speaks before you do, and now it speaks truth, strength, and light. 7. You embrace solitude as sacred. There was a time when solitude echoed like loneliness, a gentle ache that slipped in with the silence when the world finally grew quiet. You may have filled your days with noise, people, or distractions just to avoid the silence. Like many, you once believed that being alone meant something was missing. But now, at 40, solitude transforms into something sacred. You begin to see that silence isn't empty, it's full of truth. In the stillness, you meet yourself again, not the version shaped by expectations, but the one your soul has always known. You no longer run from quiet moments. You crave them. Solitude becomes your sanctuary. It's in these spaces of retreat that clarity emerges. You reflect, realign, and reconnect with the divine voice within. No longer do you seek validation or direction from the outside. Instead, you turn inward and discover a source of wisdom that has always been there, waiting. You understand now that solitude doesn't separate you from the world. It strengthens your presence in it. Time alone becomes a place of healing, of creativity, of spiritual renewal. You find beauty in your own company and strength in your own stillness. What once felt heavy now feels holy. You realize you were never truly alone, because Spirit, the universe, and your higher self have been walking beside you all along. And in this sacred quiet, you rise stronger, clearer, and more connected than ever before. 8. You finally live for yourself. For much of your life, you may have worn masks to meet expectations of family, of society, even of your younger self. You made choices to please others, to avoid conflict, or to fit into roles that never truly reflected who you are. You put your own dreams on hold, telling yourself there would be time later. But now, something within you awakens. At 40, you begin to see life differently. You realize how precious time is, and how costly it is to live a life that doesn't belong to you. The weight of expectation starts to fall away, and in its place rises something more powerful: permission. Permission to be honest, to be bold, to finally be you. You no longer feel the need to shrink yourself to keep others comfortable. You no longer trade your peace for approval. Instead, you begin choosing what aligns with your spirit, not out of rebellion, but out of reverence for your truth. Living for yourself doesn't mean abandoning those you love. It means showing up more fully, more authentically, because you're no longer living divided. You pursue passions that light you up. You say yes when it feels right, and no without guilt. You honor your needs, your voice, your worth. This is not selfishness. It's wholeness. You are no longer surviving life. You are shaping it with intention and courage. And in doing so, you finally begin to live, not for anyone else's story, but for your own. If you've made it to this point in life, through the storms, the stillness, the questions, and the quiet awakenings, know this: you didn't come this far by accident. Every detour was direction. Every delay was divine timing. Everything you've endured was part of a sacred preparation to bring you here, to this moment of arrival. 40 is not the beginning of the end. It's the unveiling of who you were always meant to be. You are not behind. You are becoming. This chapter is not about chasing more, proving your worth, or meeting someone else's timeline. It's about reclaiming your power, honoring your truth, and stepping fully into the life your soul was born to live. You are no longer who the world told you to be. You are who you were called to be. So walk forward with grace, with purpose, with your heart open and your spirit grounded. The best isn't behind you. The best is just beginning. If this message has stirred something within you, if it resonated with your spirit, then you were meant to hear it. Thank you for sharing this space, for opening your heart, and for walking this path with us. If you feel aligned with this journey, we invite you to subscribe to our channel, a place where purpose meets presence and awakening is celebrated. Join a growing community of souls walking in truth, light, and divine timing. The best is yet to come, and we're just getting started. In every age of crisis, history often records the rise of a most unlikely figure, someone unexpected, sometimes controversial, but ultimately instrumental. It's in those defining moments that one begins to wonder, are these just coincidences or divine appointments? Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States, has been a figure marked by controversy, bold innovation, and profound shifts in the American political landscape. Through elections, impeachment trials, global diplomacy, and national unrest, he has not merely survived, he has often emerged emboldened. To some, these are merely the twists and turns of political drama. But to others, particularly within the Christian community, his journey mirrors the biblical pattern of chosen leaders, flawed, misunderstood, and at times opposed, yet sovereignly positioned by God. Could it be that Trump is more than just a man of influence? Could he be, like the figures of old, an unexpected tool in God's hands? Let's explore 7 compelling biblical signs that suggest Trump might be God's chosen instrument for such a time as this. Sign 1. The prophecy of Isaiah 45 and the parallel to Cyrus. Throughout history, God has shown a pattern of using the most unexpected individuals to carry out his divine will. One such example appears in the book of Isaiah, chapter 45, where God speaks directly to a Persian king named Cyrus. Remarkably, Cyrus was not an Israelite, not a prophet, nor even a believer in the God of Israel. Yet God called him his anointed, appointing him to free the Jewish people from Babylonian captivity and commission the rebuilding of Jerusalem. I summon you by name and bestow on you a title of honor, though you do not acknowledge me. The number 45, the chapter in which this prophecy appears, also happens to correspond with Donald Trump's position as the 45th President of the United States. To some, this is merely a numerical coincidence, but to others, it is a compelling parallel, a divine echo. Like Cyrus, Trump emerged from outside the religious establishment. He was not known for spiritual leadership, nor was he the favored choice among religious elites, and yet he rose to power and took bold steps in support of causes central to biblical prophecy. Cyrus did not know God intimately, yet he fulfilled God's purposes. In the same way, Trump, despite his imperfections, may be operating under a higher plan, one that he himself may not fully understand. Just as Cyrus was used to bless Israel and set a course of restoration, some believe Trump may have been raised up for such a time as this, to protect, restore, and even prepare the way for what is yet to come. In the biblical pattern, it's not always the most holy who are chosen, but the most strategically positioned. And that, some say, is what makes Trump's story so prophetically significant. Sign 2. Recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital. One of the most defining and controversial decisions of Donald Trump's presidency was his official recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. In 2017, he took the unprecedented step of relocating the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, something previous presidents had promised but never dared to do. For many, it was a bold political move. But for others, especially within the faith community, it was far more than diplomacy. It was the fulfillment of ancient prophecy. Jerusalem is not just a city in the Bible. It is the beating heart of God's covenant with his people, the spiritual epicenter where divine history unfolds. Mentioned over 800 times in Scripture, it is the city where God's presence dwelled, where kings reigned, prophets wept, and the Messiah was revealed. Its significance transcends time and politics. It is central to God's redemptive plan. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. By recognizing Jerusalem as Israel's capital, Trump aligned his administration with this biblical promise. He didn't just shift foreign policy, he affirmed a spiritual reality that many believe had been long denied. To those who understand prophecy, this act was deeply symbolic, viewed as a step toward the Messianic era, when Jerusalem would once again take its place at the center of global attention. Scriptures in Ezekiel and Revelation speak of a time when Jerusalem becomes the dwelling place of God once more. For some, Trump's decision was more than strategic. It was prophetic. It re-established a divine alignment between heaven and earth, between God's promises and modern history. In doing so, he wasn't just making history. He may have been helping fulfill it. Sign 3. The Abraham Accords, a covenant of peace. In 2020, under the leadership of President Donald Trump, something remarkable happened, something that, for decades, the world believed to be nearly impossible. Multiple Arab nations, long at odds with Israel, signed historic peace agreements. These treaties, collectively known as the Abraham Accords, marked a profound turning point in Middle Eastern diplomacy. But to many, this was not just political progress. It was a prophetic moment unfolding before our very eyes. The name Abraham was not chosen at random. Abraham is the patriarch revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. He represents the shared spiritual ancestry of these faiths, a father of nations, a man of covenant. The Accords invoked this unity, symbolizing a bridge between peoples once divided by hostility, but now walking cautiously toward reconciliation. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you. What makes this moment truly striking from a biblical perspective is its connection to prophetic themes of peace and unity in the last days. In Isaiah 19, we read of a future where Egypt, Assyria, and Israel will stand together as a blessing upon the earth. The Abraham Accords seem to echo this vision, suggesting that a long-awaited moment of regional peace had begun to take shape. Yet, Scripture also offers a sobering reminder. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3 it says, "While people are saying peace and safety, destruction will come on them suddenly." This duality, peace on the surface but judgment looming, leads many to wonder, are we watching prophecy unfold? Donald Trump, a man not often associated with peacemaking, became the unexpected architect of one of the most prophetic peace efforts in modern times. Perhaps like others God has used, he was chosen not despite who he is, but because of it. Sign 4. War returns to Israel after Trump's departure. In the wake of Donald Trump's 2020 election defeat, the world braced for change. For many, it was the end of a political era. But for others, especially those watching through the lens of biblical prophecy, it signaled something far deeper, a spiritual shift. And almost as if on cue, a dark cloud began to gather over the Middle East. Israel, once enjoying a rare season of relative peace, was thrust back into the throes of war. During Trump's presidency, efforts like the Abraham Accords had ushered in an unprecedented calm across the region. But that fragile peace began to unravel shortly after his departure. Tensions reignited, enemies mobilized, and Jerusalem once again became a flashpoint for global conflict. To those with spiritual discernment, this wasn't just geopolitical unrest. It was the reawakening of ancient patterns foretold in Scripture. On that day, when all the nations of the earth are gathered against her, I will make Jerusalem an immovable rock for all the nations. This prophecy echoes loudly in our modern era. Israel surrounded, global powers divided, Jerusalem at the center of contention. Some believe that Trump's exit removed a layer of divine protection, a spiritual covering that had, for a time, held back the chaos. In biblical history, when God's appointed leaders stepped away, hardship often followed, not as punishment, but as a reminder that divine order is not maintained by politics alone, but by God's sovereign hand. Trump's absence in this turbulent moment has led many to reflect. Was his time in power a window of divine favor? And is the return of war a sign that the prophetic clock has begun to turn once more? In the eyes of some believers, the answer is yes, and that makes this sign all the more sobering. Sign 5. A bullet misses by millimeters, a divine preservation. On July 13, 2024, during a campaign rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, the unthinkable nearly happened. As Donald Trump stood before a cheering crowd, delivering a speech with his usual boldness, a single, seemingly insignificant movement changed everything. He turned his head slightly, barely a fraction, just as a bullet was fired in his direction. The shot, traveling with lethal speed, grazed his right ear instead of striking its intended mark. Panic erupted. Secret Service agents swarmed, the crowd screamed in shock. Yet in that instant of chaos, one truth emerged. Trump had narrowly escaped death. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. To many, this was simply luck or instinct, but to people of faith, it felt like divine intervention. A millisecond's delay, a different posture, and the outcome could have been fatal. Instead, Trump walked away, injured but alive. He would later reflect, only God prevented the unthinkable from happening. The Bible is filled with similar moments, times when God preserved his chosen ones in the face of certain destruction. David, pursued by Saul, was saved again and again. Daniel emerged unharmed from the lion's den. These weren't accidents. They were markers of divine protection. Trump's survival, against all odds, echoes that same heavenly pattern. It raises a question too large to ignore. Was his life spared for a purpose yet to be fulfilled? In a world where so much hangs in the balance, this moment served as a stark reminder. When God appoints someone for a mission, no weapon formed against them shall prosper. Whether Trump knows the full weight of that mission or not, this narrow escape spoke volumes to those who believe God still moves in powerful, unexpected ways. Sign 6. The defense of life. Pro-life convictions. Among the many positions Donald Trump took during his presidency, one of the most defining and deeply spiritual was his unwavering support for the protection of unborn life. From his earliest days in office, Trump made it clear he would be a president who stood for the sanctity of life. This commitment wasn't just political for many Americans, it was moral, even sacred. Trump backed pro-life legislation, cut funding to organizations that promoted abortion globally, and, perhaps most significantly, appointed conservative judges to the U.S. Supreme Court. These appointments ultimately reshaped the legal landscape, leading to a historic shift when Roe v. Wade was overturned, a landmark decision that returned the power to protect unborn life back to the states. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. This verse, treasured by millions of believers, speaks to the heart of the pro-life movement, the belief that every human life is a creation of God, known and loved before birth. By supporting pro-life policies, Trump aligned himself with this biblical truth, defending those who have no voice, standing for those who cannot yet stand for themselves. Critics often questioned how someone with Trump's background could become such a champion for life. But the Bible is filled with examples of unlikely people being used for divine purposes. From Moses to Paul, God often calls the unexpected to do what is most needed. For many believers, Trump's pro-life stance was more than political. It was providential. In a world that increasingly devalues life, his leadership became a defiant affirmation that life matters to God and must matter to us. It is this bold stand that many see as a clear sign of divine purpose woven into his presidency. Sign 7. Championing religious freedom in a time of repression. In recent years, expressions of faith, especially in public life, have come under increasing pressure. In schools, workplaces, and government spaces, the voice of religion has often been pushed to the margins. For many believers, it felt as though their values were being silenced. But during his presidency, Donald Trump stepped forward as an unexpected advocate for religious freedom. Unlike many political leaders who avoid faith-related issues out of caution or controversy, Trump confronted the issue head-on. He signed executive orders that protected the rights of religious organizations, ensuring they could receive government support without having to compromise their beliefs. He supported prayer in public schools, defended the rights of Christian adoption agencies, and took bold action to stand up for persecuted Christians around the world. You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before others. Trump's efforts weren't just about policy. They touched something deeper. To many people of faith, his actions sent a clear message. Your voice matters, your faith matters, and it deserves protection, not repression. At a time when many felt their spiritual freedoms were under attack, Trump gave them not only a voice but a defender in high office. In the Bible, religious freedom is more than a right. It's essential for revival. God calls his people to worship, to pray, to live boldly in their convictions. When leaders defend that freedom, they open the door for spiritual renewal. For millions, Trump's bold defense of religious liberty wasn't just political, it was prophetic. It reminded them that even in dark times, God can raise up unexpected leaders to protect what matters most, the right to believe, to worship, and to shine the light of truth. Throughout the pages of Scripture, we see God time and again using the unlikely, the imperfect, and the unexpected to fulfill his divine plans. From shepherd boys to foreign kings, he chooses not by appearance or reputation, but by purpose. Could Donald Trump be such a figure? Could the signs we've explored, his alignment with biblical prophecy, his protection of Israel, his defense of life and faith, point to something greater than mere politics? Like Cyrus in Isaiah 45, Trump may not fit the mold of a traditional spiritual leader, but perhaps it's not the mold that matters. It's the mission. In a time of global uncertainty and moral confusion, some believe his role is part of something bigger, a divine assignment unfolding in real time. Of course, the final answer rests not in human opinion, but in God's sovereign design. Yet the signs invite us to pause, to pray, and to consider whether history is once again repeating a sacred pattern. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovery and reflection. If this message stirred something in your heart, or gave you a new perspective, we invite you to like this video, share it with others, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more inspiring, faith-filled content rooted in biblical truth and prophetic insight. Your support helps us continue bringing these powerful stories to life, and together, we can keep shining the light of truth in a world that desperately needs hope. Until next time, stay encouraged, stay watchful, and may God bless you richly. There's something extraordinary, almost celestial, about being in the presence of a chosen one. You can feel it before they speak, before they smile, even before they look your way. It's not about charisma or charm. It's about energy. Their presence is a balm to wounded spirits. Their silence speaks volumes, and their gaze penetrates to the soul's deepest corners. They don't demand attention. They command peace. These are the people who love deeply without condition, who forgive even when forgiveness isn't asked for, who bring healing just by existing. But behind their grace lies a quiet fire, a storm held back by discipline, a spiritual strength hidden behind soft eyes and kind words. Because when a chosen one is provoked, betrayed, or spiritually violated, they do not simply react, they awaken. And what awakens is not ordinary emotion. It is something sacred, something ancient, a divine judgment that reshapes everything around it. Today we explore 8 profound reasons why chosen ones are the kindest souls you will ever meet, but also the most dangerous when provoked. Before beginning the video, let's subscribe, like this video, and stay with me until the end of this message, and you will understand why you were led here. This is your moment. 1. Their healing energy can warm you or burn you. There is something unmistakably sacred about the presence of a chosen one. It's not something you can always explain with words, it's something you feel. Their energy is soft yet powerful, gentle yet transformative. When they walk into a space, the atmosphere shifts. Tension eases, hearts soften. Without even trying, they bring comfort to the broken and calm to the restless. Their very presence feels like a breath of fresh air after a long storm. But their healing isn't passive. It's not simply about being nice. The peace they carry is the result of deep spiritual refinement. They've been through fire, and they carry light that heals because they've known darkness intimately. Being near them often feels like emotional cleansing, like your spirit is finally being held, seen, and restored. However, that same light that soothes can also confront. It exposes. It burns away illusions. Because true healing isn't just about comfort. It's about truth. The energy they carry doesn't just ease your pain. It brings everything hidden into the light. The lies you tell yourself, the masks you wear, the shadows you hide, nothing can stay buried in their presence. Many mistake this light for vulnerability, assuming chosen ones can be manipulated or taken advantage of. But make no mistake, their gentleness is not weakness. Their kindness is not a lack of awareness. The same healing energy that lifts others can also become a refining fire when faced with dishonesty, ego, or malice. Being loved by a chosen one is a gift, but if you betray that love, you'll be exposed by the truth they carry. And when their light turns toward you, anything fake or dishonest won't be able to hide. 2. Their patience isn't passive, it's divine discipline. At first glance, the patience of a chosen one might seem like indifference. They don't rush to correct, argue, or confront. They remain quiet even when wronged. But don't mistake their stillness for apathy. It is anything but passive. Their patience is intentional. It is the product of inner strength and spiritual clarity. Chosen ones understand the sacred rhythm of time. They know that not every lesson is taught with words, and not every battle is won through confrontation. They observe, they wait, and they allow others the space to grow, to come into alignment, to choose truth. Even when they are fully aware of betrayal or deceit, they do not act impulsively. Instead, they hold space for transformation, hoping the other person might awaken before it's too late. But their patience has a limit. It is not eternal. When that silent grace shifts, when the calm turns to quiet withdrawal, it is not a reaction of anger, but a sign that divine timing has reached its end. Their stillness becomes a signal. The season of mercy is closing. And when they do move, it's never for revenge. It's purpose-driven. They don't need to prove anything. They know who they are. Their decision to step back is often the most powerful message they'll ever send. In the end, their patience isn't weakness, it's wisdom, it's discipline. And when they finally act, the impact is undeniable, because it's not just them moving, it's the divine moving through them. 3. When they snap, it's not anger, it's divine judgment. Chosen ones are not easily angered. Their hearts are anchored in deep emotional maturity, and their spirits are attuned to peace. They have endured more than most, often carrying wounds in silence and forgiving long before apologies are offered. But when their boundaries are crossed too many times, when their grace is taken for granted and their soul repeatedly violated, what rises in them is not ordinary anger. It's something sacred, something weighty. Their outburst, if it comes, is not impulsive. It is prophetic. It is not fueled by ego, but by alignment with divine truth. In those rare moments when they finally speak out, their words pierce deeper than any weapon. They don't just express pain, they unveil it. They don't shout to be heard, they speak to awaken. When a chosen one reaches their limit, their words carry deep truth. They're not trying to hurt anyone, they're simply speaking what can no longer be hidden. And when that truth comes out, it doesn't just reveal the pain, it pushes change. 4. They protect everyone, including themselves. Chosen ones carry a natural instinct to protect. Chosen ones carry a natural instinct to protect. They are the quiet guardians in a noisy world, the ones who step in when others step back. They shield the broken, defend the innocent, and stand firm against injustice without ever needing recognition. Their love is not passive, it is protective, rooted in a sacred calling to bring peace where there is pain and strength where there is fear. But what many overlook is this: the same fierce devotion they offer others, they also extend to themselves. Chosen ones do not abandon their own spirit for the sake of pleasing others. They are deeply aware of their energy, their peace, and the sacredness of their inner space. When someone repeatedly disrespects their boundaries or disrupts their spiritual alignment, they won't argue, they will quietly step away. This isn't coldness, it's clarity. They know that protection isn't just about defending others from harm, it's also about honoring their own worth. The same strength they use to shield others becomes the sword they use to guard their own soul, because a chosen one understands. If their light is to keep shining for the world, they must never let it be dimmed by those who do not value it. 5. Their silence is louder than screaming and far more destructive. When deeply hurt or betrayed, chosen ones don't lash out. They don't argue, plead, or seek to be understood. Instead, they retreat into silence, and that silence is far more powerful than any outburst could ever be. Because their silence speaks. It speaks of boundaries crossed, of trust broken, of grace that has finally run its course. It doesn't scream. It echoes. And in its echo is a mirror that forces others to confront what their presence once protected. The peace that followed them disappears, and what's left is the unrest that had always been there, now exposed. Chosen ones don't need to raise their voice to make a statement. Their absence is the statement. The warmth they brought, the calm they carried, the invisible safety they offered, it all leaves with them. And suddenly, everything starts to unravel. They do not withdraw to punish. They withdraw to preserve. And in doing so, they allow truth, consequence, and divine justice to take over. Their silence is not weakness. It's wisdom. It is the final sacred boundary. When they go quiet, it's not because they've given up. It's because they've already said all that needed to be said, without speaking a single word. 6. Their intuition is a spiritual weapon chosen. Ones don't just sense what others overlook. They see it. Their intuition is not guesswork. It's spiritual insight sharpened through experience, prayer, and deep inner alignment. They read energy the way others read facial expressions. They feel what's not being said, and they discern the truth behind even the most polished lies. They may remain quiet, choosing not to confront immediately. But don't confuse their silence for ignorance. They know more than they let on. In moments of tension or deceit, they pick up on the unspoken, the slight shifts in tone, the masked intentions, the subtle manipulations. It's as if their soul is wired to detect truth beneath layers of disguise, and when the time comes to speak, they do so with clarity and calm, but their words land with force. They don't argue or attack, they reveal. With just a few sentences, they can expose what others have tried to bury, even from themselves. Not to shame, but to awaken. This is why toxic people feel uneasy around them. It's not fear of confrontation, it's fear of exposure. Because to stand before a chosen one is to stand before truth itself. And when truth becomes a weapon, it cuts straight to the soul. 7. Their mercy is vast, but not infinite. The heart of a chosen one beats with compassion. They are among the first to forgive, the last to walk away, and often the only ones praying for the very people who hurt them. They see the pain beneath the behavior, the wound behind the betrayal. Their love is patient, and their mercy runs deep. But even divine patience has its limit. Chosen ones may offer chance after chance, not out of naivety, but because they believe in healing. They hope for redemption. They give people room to grow, not because they're blind, but because they know that true change takes time. Yet, there comes a moment when mercy is no longer alignment. It becomes self-betrayal. And when that threshold is crossed, something shifts. Quietly, firmly, without drama. They don't slam doors. They close them gently, but for good. And when they step away, so does the spiritual covering they carried. The peace, the prayers, the unseen protection, all lifted. What once shielded someone from the weight of consequence is suddenly gone. That's when people realize they weren't just dealing with a kind person. They were held by someone spiritually sent. And when that covering lifts, life teaches what grace once softened. 8. Their presence changes the atmosphere. For better or worse. A chosen one doesn't just enter a room, they shift it. Their energy is not loud or boastful, but it's undeniably powerful. Without saying a word, they bring stillness to chaos, calm to tension, and light to confusion. People may not understand why they suddenly feel more at peace or more open, but it's the spiritual frequency they carry. They are vessels of divine energy, and that energy brings balance, order, and unseen protection. Conversations become clearer. Emotions settle. Hearts open. The atmosphere simply feels better. But that same presence, when provoked or unsettled, can have the opposite effect. When their peace is disturbed, the harmony around them begins to fracture. The room may feel heavier, Conversation may stall, and people grow uneasy without knowing why. It's not just emotion, it's spirit. Their soul is so attuned that any spiritual dissonance sends ripples through the environment. This is why even their silence carries weight. Their energy speaks louder than their voice ever could. To be in their presence is to feel something sacred, whether comforting or confronting. Because a chosen one doesn't just live in the world, they shift the very atmosphere around them. To encounter a chosen one is to stand in the presence of something both tender and unshakable. Their kindness is not weakness, it is wisdom wrapped in grace. Their silence holds more truth than 1,000 words, and their patience is a reflection of divine timing, not hesitation. They are healers, protectors, truth-tellers, quiet forces of transformation sent not to dominate but to awaken. But never mistake their gentleness for fragility. Beneath their compassion lies sacred fire, and when provoked beyond their spiritual threshold, that fire rises, not to destroy, but to reveal, not to condemn, but to correct. So honor the chosen ones in your life. Their presence is not ordinary, it is purposeful, and if you are one, this is your reminder. Your light is powerful, your grace is rare, and the strength you carry in silence is not only seen by heaven, it is protected by it. Walk softly, but never forget the fire you carry. There are no accidents in the divine plan. If this message found its way to you, it's not because of an algorithm. It's because destiny has a way of sending signals when your soul is ready to awaken. You didn't stumble across this. You were summoned. There's a deep and ancient truth written into the very fabric of the universe. Nothing powerful is born without pressure, and nothing chosen walks through life without resistance. The more light you carry, the more shadows you attract. But not everyone survives that contrast. You did. And now you're here. Not broken, but battle-tested. Not lost, but chosen. Let's begin this journey together. It's not just a message. It's a reflection of everything you've been feeling but couldn't put into words. From the earliest moments of your journey, something about you is different. You didn't fit in, and no matter how hard you tried, blending into the background never felt natural. That's because you weren't made to fade into the crowd. You weren't crafted for mediocrity. You were never ordinary. You've always carried something deeper, something heavier, a calling, a presence, a light that can't be easily ignored. And while others may have coasted through life, you've felt the weight of being different. But what you once saw as a burden was, in truth, a sacred signature of purpose. Ordinary lives don't shake atmospheres. Ordinary hearts don't carry the kind of fire that shifts generations. But you do. That's why life hasn't always been kind. Because the chosen path is rarely the easy one. It's the road carved through resistance, through rejection, and through refinement. And while some seem to rise with applause, your growth came in silence. Alone. In rooms where no one clapped, but heaven took notice. And as you continued to grow into your calling, something else began to happen. People started to leave. You held on with everything you had. You poured your love, your energy, your loyalty into people who couldn't see your worth. You chased doors that slammed shut, cried over opportunities that slipped through your hands, and wondered if the losses meant you weren't enough. But here's the truth. What left your life was never meant to stay. That relationship you gave your heart to, it couldn't carry your future. That opportunity you lost sleep over, it would have misaligned your destiny. Sometimes rejection is not cruelty, it's compassion in disguise. It's divine interference, saving you from what your heart wanted but your soul didn't need. You see, when you're chosen, not everyone can walk with you. Your future demands clarity, and clarity requires separation. So the exits you thought were your downfall were actually your deliverance. The universe heard conversations behind closed doors you never did. It saw the hidden motives, the quiet jealousy, the subtle sabotage, and it removed what you didn't have the strength to let go of. Let them go. Let what was never yours fall away without guilt. because what's coming will recognize you instantly. You won't need to prove, to beg, or to break yourself to fit. The ones who are meant to be in your life won't be confused by your value. And that's exactly why so many couldn't get close to you, why certain relationships couldn't last, why you often felt like you were on the outside looking in. It's not because you were broken, it's because you are sacred. What is sacred must be protected. A diamond isn't placed on the sidewalk for anyone to grab. It's guarded, kept safe, cherished. And that's how heaven views you. When people mishandled you, it wasn't because you were too much. It was because they didn't have the capacity to honor you. They approached your spirit with dirty hands, not realizing the purity of what they were touching. And each time someone tried to use you, abuse you, or reduce you, life didn't punish them immediately, but it did take notes. The more sacred your purpose, the more protection you need. You weren't being left out. You were being guarded. While others focused on looking good, you were being prepared for something greater. That's why some people had to leave. It wasn't rejection, it was protection. No, your journey hasn't been easy. But truthfully, it's the pain that shaped your strength and built the fire inside you. You asked, why did it hurt so much? But the real question is, how else would the fire in you be forged? The heartbreaks, betrayals, lonely nights, and unanswered prayers, they weren't random. They were your refining fire. Because when God crowns a person, He first tests their heart. When the universe is preparing someone to lead, it puts them through seasons that break their ego, sharpen their vision, and strip away everything fake. You didn't suffer because you were weak. You suffered because strength was being carved into you. You didn't fall apart, you fell into place. Each crack in your heart became a channel for your light to shine through. Every wound gave birth to wisdom. And now, you don't just carry a message, you are the message. A living testimony that pressure doesn't destroy the chosen. It prepares them. So if you felt pain, if you felt like everything was falling apart, know this: it wasn't. It was falling into divine alignment. Can you feel it? That silent pull, that quiet but undeniable sense that something is changing. Not just around you, but within you. It's not anxiety. It's not coincidence. It's alignment. You are standing at the edge of something monumental, and the ground beneath you is shifting. But this transformation didn't happen overnight. It's been building. Slowly. Silently. Sacredly. Every tear you cried in private, every setback you thought would break you, every night you whispered, "Why does it have to be this hard?" It was part of a greater story being written in the unseen. You see, the shift always begins in silence, because what's truly powerful never needs to announce itself. It simply arrives. Ready. And this quiet rising, explains why the attacks have intensified. Because you don't walk like everyone else. You don't chase attention, yet somehow it finds you. You move with humility, but your presence speaks louder than pride ever could. That's what the Daniel anointing looks like. It's not about being loud. It's about being aligned. Daniel wasn't flashy, but even kings took notice. And so did the snakes. The same favor that promotes you is often the very thing that provokes others. Your growth exposes their stagnation. Your peace reveals their chaos. And your obedience? It's unsettling to a world obsessed with shortcuts and image. You've been misunderstood. Watched. Not with admiration, but with intimidation. But hear this. Their opinions don't define your purpose. Their envy doesn't disqualify your anointing. And their resistance? It's just proof that you're rising in the spirit before it's visible in the physical. Chosen ones don't need validation from crowds. They carry confirmation from above. Stop trying to make yourself smaller so others feel more comfortable. You were never meant to be liked by everyone. That's not your assignment. You were meant to leave a mark so undeniable it echoes long after you've left the room. And sometimes, That kind of presence doesn't attract applause. It attracts resistance. Your light makes people confront the darkness they've ignored. Your truth cuts through illusions others depend on to survive. So don't be surprised when your elevation causes people to distance themselves. They're not avoiding you. They're avoiding what your growth reveals about them. And that's okay, because you weren't built to be palatable. You were built to be powerful. Let them talk. Let them question. Let them misunderstand. Your worth doesn't shrink because someone else can't see it. The roar of your purpose is too loud to be silenced by their whispers. You've spent too much time trying to explain yourself to people who were never supposed to understand you. You see what others miss. You sense shifts in rooms others walk through blindly. You notice unspoken truths, feel unseen motives, and carry insight that doesn't come from books. It comes from divine download. That's not paranoia. That's precision. And the reason you've often felt out of place in surface-level spaces is because your depth intimidates shallow minds. But you don't have to keep explaining your moves, your decisions, or your silence. Chosen ones operate by spiritual radar, not public opinion. You were given a vision not everyone was meant to see, so stop translating it into a language they refuse to learn. Your obedience is enough. Your discernment is protection. And your distance? It's often the clearest sign of wisdom. You may look at others who seem more skilled, more connected, more applauded, and wonder, why not me? But what you don't see is that while talent might open doors, only obedience keeps them open. Obedience is showing up when you're tired. It's trusting the process when nothing makes sense. It's staying humble in silence when your heart screams for recognition. And that, right there, is what separates the chosen from the called. The world celebrates talent, but heaven honors obedience. Your breakthrough won't come because you were the loudest or the most polished. It'll come because you listened, because you waited, because you stayed true when no one was watching. And in a world that idolizes speed, your quiet consistency has made you unstoppable. There's a sacred silence that often follows the seasons of struggle, a quiet stretch of time where nothing seems to move, nothing seems to break through, and you wonder if all your effort was in vain. But silence does not mean stagnation. Don't let the stillness fool you. The quiet doesn't mean you're being forgotten. It means you're being formed. Warriors aren't built in the spotlight. They're sharpened in the shadows. And you, chosen one, have been hidden not to be overlooked, but to be preserved for the precise moment heaven declares, now. In this silent space, your roots have grown deep. Your strength has been forged far away from applause. And just when it seems like nothing is happening, that's when everything is happening. Stillness is not your enemy, it's your strategy. And just as you're growing in the silence, the favor on your life is becoming louder. But here's the part the world won't understand. Favor was never meant to be fair. It doesn't follow rules or respect order. It chooses the faithful over the flashy, the obedient over the obvious. So when you rise, they'll call it luck. They'll say it's undeserved. But they didn't see the price you paid in private. They weren't there for the nights you cried yourself to sleep. They didn't witness the storms you survived in silence. So let them whisper. Let them wonder. Favor isn't supposed to make sense. It's meant to make history. And now, the shift is no longer a distant promise. It's here. The atmosphere is changing. The alignment is happening. That surge you've felt in your spirit, it's not just emotion. It's preparation. This isn't business as usual. This is divine movement. The door you've been praying for isn't just opening, it's swinging wide. But it won't wait for hesitation. This is a suddenly season. The question isn't, will it happen? It's, are you ready? Because when the shift calls your name, the chosen don't chase, they rise. You were never random. You were always marked. Everything they used to bury you only proved how fireproof you are. Every detour, every disappointment, every dark night, none of it was in vain. Now, you are stronger, sharper, clearer, and the shift isn't just coming, it's already begun. This is your announcement, your alignment, your activation. You were not just chosen, you were made unstoppable. If this message spoke to your soul, thank you for sharing this moment with us. Your presence here matters. Subscribe to this channel so you never miss what's divinely meant for you. And if you're ready to step fully into your purpose, drop "I'm ready" in the comments. Your journey is just beginning. Let's rise together. If you're hearing this right now, let me assure you, it's not an accident. You didn't stumble upon this message by chance. You were drawn by divine alignment. Some of you have been walking through shadows, feeling rejected, betrayed, and misunderstood. You've cried silent tears, wrestled with questions no one knew you carried. And yet, deep within, your spirit has been whispering, there's more to this, something deeper, something eternal. This is your awakening. This is your confirmation. Today, the heavens are speaking, loud and clear. You are not broken. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. Let that truth take root, because from this moment forward, your perspective will shift, your purpose will ignite, and your story will never be the same. You've asked the questions no one else hears, the ones whispered through sleepless nights and tear-stained prayers. Why did they walk away? Why did they turn on me when all I gave was love? You've replayed the moments, searching for answers, wondering if the heartbreak you endured was somehow your fault. But let this truth settle in your spirit. The pain you felt is not proof of your failure. It's confirmation of your calling. The rejection, the silence, the betrayal, they weren't random acts. They were spiritual reactions to the purpose you carry. The enemy wasn't responding to your flaws. He was reacting to your fire. From the very beginning, you were marked by heaven, set apart for something greater. Even before you knew who you were, darkness recognized your light. That's why the battle started early. That's why, in rooms where others felt at ease, you felt like a stranger. That's why people left, not because you were unlovable, but because your presence made their hidden wounds uncomfortable. You weren't born to blend in. You were never meant to live a life of quiet conformity. You were crafted to carry glory, to disturb darkness, and to awaken what's divine in a sleeping world. That kind of calling attracts warfare. That kind of light stirs resistance. So don't mistake your pain for punishment. It's been the forge that shaped your resilience. The very wounds that threatened to crush you are now the testimony that proves you are chosen. You were not abandoned. You were distinguished. And the pain you carry? It's not a burden of shame, but a sacred sign that heaven has entrusted you with something extraordinary. Have you ever walked into a room and instantly felt resistance, an unspoken tension that had nothing to do with what you said or did? You were kind. You were genuine. Yet somehow, your presence unsettled the atmosphere. Here's why. You carry light, and light always disrupts darkness. You didn't enter that space with judgment. You didn't come to expose or shame anyone. You simply showed up as yourself, a child of God, filled with His Spirit and marked with His presence. But the moment your light entered, something shifted. Things long hidden were suddenly visible. Attitudes once accepted became uncomfortable. The compromise, the bitterness, the pain, they all rose to the surface. And rather than embrace the light, many chose to resist it. It wasn't you they were rejecting. It was the conviction your light brought. Your purity revealed their compromise. Your truth disturbed their deception. Your fire made their apathy obvious. This is why some people pull away, why conversations grow cold, why friendships suddenly fade. Because your light exposed what they were not ready to confront. Jesus said it plainly in John 3:19. Light has come into the world, but people loved darkness instead of light because their deeds were evil. That wasn't just a reflection of His time. It's a reflection of what every believer carrying light will encounter. So don't shrink back. Don't dim your light to make others feel more comfortable in their darkness. The resistance isn't a sign you're doing something wrong. It's confirmation that you're walking in truth. When you walk in the Spirit, your very existence becomes a mirror. And not everyone is ready to face what that reflection reveals. But still, keep shining. Because where light is, darkness cannot remain. There's a pattern to the pain you've endured, a divine thread that runs through the stories of those God has chosen throughout history. And one of the clearest examples of this is found in the life of Joseph. Joseph didn't seek attention. He didn't ask to be envied. He simply carried something special, a dream from God, a glimpse of destiny, and that dream made others uncomfortable. He was favored, gifted, and set apart. Yet what did it bring him? Rejection, betrayal, isolation. His own brothers, the ones who should have loved and protected him, turned against him. Not because he wronged them, but because they couldn't handle what he carried. Genesis 37:4 tells us that, when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than any of them, they hated him and could not speak a kind word to him. It wasn't his actions, it was his anointing. It was his light that revealed their insecurity, his vision that exposed their lack of it. Just like Joseph, you've been misunderstood. You've been pushed aside, not because you failed, but because your calling revealed what others weren't ready to face in themselves. And instead of dealing with their own hearts, they projected their pain onto you. But here's what they didn't know. The pit was part of the process. Every moment of betrayal was a stepping stone toward Joseph's destiny, and the same is true for you. What seemed like a setback was really a setup. What they meant to bury you with, God is using to elevate you. Your pain isn't random, it's patterned. It follows the same thread of every chosen one before you. And just like Joseph, you will rise, not in spite of the betrayal, but because of it. There are moments in life when the pain of someone walking away feels unbearable. You replay the conversations, relive the memories, and wrestle with confusion. Why did they leave? Why did they stop caring? After all I gave, why wasn't it enough? But what if their absence isn't a punishment? What if it's protection? You see, not every rejection is from the enemy. Sometimes it's the hand of God gently removing what can no longer go with you. He saw what you couldn't see. He heard the silent jealousy, the unspoken doubts, the wavering loyalty. And when the time was right, he stepped in. Not to hurt you, but to free you. It wasn't just that they left. It was that God allowed it. Because the next level of your calling requires purity of heart, clarity of purpose, and alignment with people who can carry the weight of your destiny. Psalm 118 verse 22 declares, "The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. What others dismissed, God is building on. The very person they overlooked, you, is the one God has chosen to elevate. So don't chase after what God has released. Don't grieve over doors that were divinely closed. That rejection wasn't meant to define you. It was designed to redirect you. Where you're going, not everyone can follow. And that's okay, because what God is preparing for you requires a new circle, a new focus, a new level of faith. Their departure wasn't your defeat. It was your deliverance. Rejection didn't disqualify you. It positioned you. And now, you are free to step forward, unhindered and fully aligned with heaven's plan. One of the hardest truths to accept is that betrayal often comes from the ones closest to us. Not from strangers, not from enemies, but from those who sat at our table, shared our laughter, and held our trust. Even Jesus experienced this. Among the 12 men he chose, walked with, and poured his heart into, there was Judas, the one who would betray him, and not with a weapon, not with a public accusation, but with a kiss. Luke 22:48 records Jesus saying, "Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss?" A kiss, an act of affection, used as a mask for deception. It's a painful reminder that not all betrayal looks like hostility. Sometimes it comes wrapped in familiarity, and the closer the connection, the deeper the wound. But here's the revelation. If Judas hadn't betrayed Jesus, the prophecy would not have been fulfilled. The path to the cross, and ultimately, to resurrection, required that moment of betrayal. It wasn't a detour, it was part of the divine design, and so it is with you. the one who betrayed you, the friend, the partner, the confidant. They didn't derail your destiny. They accelerated it. What the enemy meant for harm, God is using for your elevation. You don't need to harbor bitterness. You don't need to curse their name, because in the bigger picture they played a role, not in your destruction, but in your becoming. Betrayal may have pierced your heart, but it also unlocked your purpose. Just as it did for Jesus, so it will for you. So hold your head high, not despite the betrayal, but because of it. Judas didn't win, and neither will yours. God is still in control, and your story is far from over. When people want to forget something, they bury it. That's exactly what they tried to do to you. They buried you beneath lies, silence, betrayal, and rejection. They thought it was over, that they had silenced your voice, dimmed your light, and erased your purpose. But they misunderstood something essential about who you are. You're not a stone, destined to stay where you're dropped. You are a seed, designed to rise. A stone is buried to be hidden. A seed is buried to be transformed. And while they thought they were ending you, what they really did was plant you. Yes, the soil felt dark. The pressure was real. The silence, suffocating. But what they didn't realize is that the darkness wasn't your grave. It was your greenhouse. It was in that hidden place where God began to work, where roots grew deep, where identity was formed, where faith was refined. And now, that seed is pushing through the surface. What was meant to break you is becoming the very thing God uses to lift you. What was intended to silence you is giving birth to your voice. The pain, the pressure, the abandonment. It was never wasted. It was preparation. Psalm 23:5 says, "You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies." God isn't just restoring you in private. He's about to reveal you in public. The same people who thought your story was over will witness your rising. So don't despise the dirt. It's proof that you were planted, not buried. And in this next season, you won't just survive, you'll bloom. Because seeds don't stay underground. They rise, and so will you. There comes a moment, after the loss, after the silence, after the storm, when heaven whispers, "It's time. Time to rise. Time to walk forward. Time to step into the purpose that all your pain has been preparing you for." That moment is now. For so long, you've been in a hidden season, a season of pruning, pressing, and refining. You've endured battles no one else saw, carried burdens that nearly broke you, but through it all, you never gave up. And now, the tides are turning. The season of rising is here. This is the moment when everything that tried to hold you back begins to break. The chains of fear, the weight of disappointment, the residue of rejection, none of it can stay. Because when God calls you forward, nothing can keep you bound. You're not who you were in the valley. You've matured. You've learned to trust God when it didn't make sense, and that kind of faith doesn't go unnoticed. It positions you for favor. Doors are about to open that no man can shut. Opportunities you didn't chase are about to chase you. The blessings that felt delayed are now being released, not because you strived for them, but because you stood firm in the waiting. This rising isn't just for your benefit, it's for the glory of the one who carried you. As Psalm 75:6-7 says, "No one from the east or the west or from the desert can exalt themselves. It is God who judges. He brings one down, he exalts another. You are the one he is lifting. So walk boldly, speak with authority, love without fear. Your season of sorrow is over. Your season of divine elevation has begun." Let's take this moment to pray together. Heavenly Father, thank you for reminding us today that rejection is not the end, but often the beginning of your greater purpose. For every listener feeling weary, strengthen them. For every heart that's been broken, heal them. Let this be the season they rise, not in their own strength, but in your power. May every setback become a setup, every wound become a testimony. Use their pain for your glory. In Jesus' name, amen. If this message touched your heart, it wasn't by accident. You were meant to hear it. Thank you for watching, for listening, and for being part of this growing family of faith. And if you haven't already, we invite you to subscribe to this channel. We're here to walk with you, speak life into you, and remind you of who you truly are in Christ. Every week, you'll find messages of hope, truth, and encouragement, tailored just for you. So stay connected, stay expectant, and remember, you are chosen, you are rising, and your best days are ahead. Tears, often dismissed as signs of weakness. But what if I told you that when a chosen one cries, something shifts, not just within their soul, but across the entire universe? This is not a metaphor. It's a spiritual reality hidden in plain sight. For the awakened, for the seekers, for those who carry divine assignments on earth, every tear is not merely sorrow. It is a summons, a signal, a supernatural ripple that calls forth change. Have you ever felt an unexplainable energy when someone near you wept from the depth of their soul? Now imagine that same energy magnified, because the person crying is not just anyone. They are a chosen one, marked by purpose, burdened with healing, destined to awaken the sleeping. Tears are often dismissed as weakness, fleeting expressions of sorrow that fade as quickly as they fall. But when a chosen one weeps, something far deeper is at play. Their tears are not ordinary. They are charged with divine resonance, vibrating at a spiritual frequency that reaches beyond the physical realm. Each tear is a sacred signal, a whisper to the heavens that a shift is taking place in the fabric of reality. Chosen ones walk with an invisible weight, carrying divine assignments that are often misunderstood by those around them. Their hearts are open, their spirits sensitive to the energies of the world. When they cry, it is not merely personal pain leaking out. It is a release of energetic truth, a surge of divine emotion that echoes through spiritual dimensions. Their sorrow speaks in a language the universe understands. All throughout history and ancient stories, we find examples that prove this truth. Jesus wept at the tomb of Lazarus, and moments later, resurrection followed. The Buddha shed silent tears beneath the Bodhi tree before stepping into enlightenment. These were not just emotional responses, they were spiritual catalysts, acts that awakened divine intervention and altered the course of history. What makes the tears of a chosen one different is not the emotion itself, but the authority behind it. Their tears carry assignment. They carry prophecy. They are the breaking point of human endurance and the turning point of divine purpose. So when a chosen one weeps, the atmosphere shifts. Heaven leans in. The unseen realm responds. To the world, it may seem like they are breaking, but in truth, they are activating. Something ancient, something sacred stirs within them, and the universe takes notice. Because when a chosen one sheds tears, it isn't just emotion, it's divine energy in motion. Tears, often dismissed as signs of weakness. But what if I told you that when a chosen one cries, something shifts, not just within their soul, but across the entire universe? This is not a metaphor. It's a spiritual reality hidden in plain sight. For the awakened, for the seekers, for those who carry divine assignments on earth, every tear is not merely sorrow. It is a summons, a signal, a supernatural ripple that calls forth change. Have you ever felt an unexplainable energy when someone near you wept from the depth of their soul? Now imagine that same energy magnified, because the person crying is not just anyone. They are a chosen one, marked by purpose, burdened with healing, destined to awaken the sleeping. Tears are often dismissed as weakness, fleeting expressions of sorrow that fade as quickly as they fall. But when a chosen one weeps, something far deeper is at play. Their tears are not ordinary. They are charged with divine resonance, vibrating at a spiritual frequency that reaches beyond the physical realm. Each tear is a sacred signal, a whisper to the heavens that a shift is taking place in the fabric of reality. Chosen ones walk with an invisible weight, carrying divine assignments that are often misunderstood by those around them. Their hearts are open, their spirits sensitive to the energies of the world. When they cry, it is not merely personal pain leaking out. It is a release of energetic truth, a surge of divine emotion that echoes through spiritual dimensions. Their sorrow speaks in a language the universe understands. All throughout history and ancient stories, we find examples that prove this truth. Jesus wept at the tomb of Lazarus, and moments later, resurrection followed. The Buddha shed silent tears beneath the Bodhi tree before stepping into enlightenment. These were not just emotional responses, they were spiritual catalysts, acts that awakened divine intervention and altered the course of history. What makes the tears of a chosen one different is not the emotion itself, but the authority behind it. Their tears carry assignment. They carry prophecy. They are the breaking point of human endurance and the turning point of divine purpose. So when a chosen one weeps, the atmosphere shifts. Heaven leans in. The unseen realm responds. To the world, it may seem like they are breaking, but in truth, they are activating. Something ancient, something sacred stirs within them, and the universe takes notice. Because when a chosen one sheds tears, it isn't just emotion, it's divine energy in motion. What happens when someone harms a chosen one? At first, nothing may seem to change. Life carries on as if nothing happened, but over time, a shift begins, often quiet, but undeniable. Things start to unravel, and those who once stood tall find themselves stumbling. Why? Because the universe operates on an unbreakable principle, balance. And when a chosen one, someone aligned with a divine mission, is hurt unjustly, that balance is disrupted. Their tears don't just fall unnoticed, they ripple through unseen realms, activating what many call karma, but in truth is spiritual justice. This isn't about revenge, it's about restoration. When someone wounds a chosen one, whether through betrayal, deception, or cruelty, they unknowingly trigger a spiritual chain reaction. It might not be immediate, but it is inevitable. The energy they send out must return. This is why so many people who mistreat pure-hearted souls later find themselves facing unexpected hardship. Doors that were once open close. Relationships fall apart. Opportunities vanish. It's not punishment. It's the natural response of a universe protecting what is sacred. Chosen ones are not just individuals. They are vessels of light. Harming them is like throwing a stone into a sacred river. The ripples reach far, and eventually, they come back. So if you've ever wronged a chosen one, even unknowingly, take it seriously. Seek forgiveness. Realign with truth. Because when a chosen one sheds tears, the universe listens, and it always responds. When a chosen one cries, it might seem to others like they're falling apart, overwhelmed by pain, betrayal, or the weight they've been carrying. But on a deeper level, that moment is actually the start of something powerful. A major shift is taking place. You see, their tears don't fall in vain. They carry the weight of unspoken prayers, suppressed emotions, and divine energy ready to move. And once released, that energy begins to reshape everything around them. Relationships start to shift. Environments feel different. People disappear, some by choice, others removed by unseen forces. It may feel like rejection, but in truth, it is redirection. The universe is clearing the path. After deep emotional pain, a chosen one often finds themselves standing in the ruins of what once was, friendships lost, careers left behind, familiar places no longer feeling like home. But these losses are not endings, they are openings. The storm did not destroy them. It washed away what no longer belonged. In this sacred clearing, clarity comes, strength returns, and new doors begin to open, not just opportunities, but revelations. Many chosen ones awaken to higher truths in the aftermath of heartbreak. Their vision sharpens, their purpose becomes clearer. This is the divine pattern. The breakdown comes first, then the breakthrough. The tears water the ground where transformation takes root. And from that pain, something extraordinary begins to grow. So when a chosen one weeps, don't mistake it for weakness. It's the first sign of renewal, a divine reset, a powerful transition from who they were to who they were always meant to become. Because after the storm comes the shift. From the outside, a chosen one's lowest moment may look like the end, a collapse under the weight of betrayal, isolation, or heartbreak. But in truth, it is the beginning of something sacred, because the very pain meant to break them becomes the fire that refines them. Suffering, though bitter, awakens something powerful within. When a chosen one is pushed to the edge, it is not defeat that greets them, it is revelation. Through their tears, they begin to shed everything that no longer serves their purpose: false attachments, limiting beliefs, relationships misaligned with their destiny. Their sorrow becomes a sacred stripping away, preparing the ground for something greater. And then, the rise begins. Slowly but with divine certainty, they start to rebuild, not the life they had, but the life they were always meant to live. They speak with more wisdom, move with greater clarity, and walk with deeper purpose. The pain didn't just shape them, it awakened their true power. This is the unseen transformation. While the world believes they've been defeated, they're actually evolving. Like seeds buried in darkness, their growth begins underground, in silence, in secret. But when they rise, they are stronger, more focused, more aligned. Those who once doubted them begin to take notice. The ones who walked away now look back in disbelief, because the chosen one they once overlooked is now rising, not in spite of the pain, but because of it. So if you've watched someone fall and assumed it was the end of their story, think again. For the chosen one, pain is not a prison. It's a passage. It doesn't destroy them. It reveals who they truly are. Hurting someone who carries light is never just a personal act. It's a spiritual one. And when that someone is a chosen one, aligned with divine purpose, the consequences of that harm reach far beyond what the eye can see. Many believe they can mistreat kind-hearted people and walk away untouched. They might manipulate, betray, or take advantage, assuming their actions will be forgotten. But what they don't realize is that the pain they cause doesn't disappear. It transforms. It becomes energy, and that energy begins to move in ways they cannot control. The tears of a chosen one are not silent in the spiritual realm. They are loud cries for justice that summon divine forces. And once those forces are in motion, the energy must return to where it came from. What was sent out must come back, sometimes slowly, sometimes all at once, but always with purpose. This is not about revenge. It's not about punishment. It's about balance. The universe is built on it. And when that balance is disturbed by wrongdoing, especially against those chosen to carry light, it is only a matter of time before correction follows. Many who have harmed chosen ones eventually face consequences they never expected. Unexpected losses, emotional turmoil, missed opportunities. Life begins to unravel, and they don't always connect the dots. But the spiritual realm never forgets. If you've ever caused harm to someone who only wished you well, take it seriously. Reflect. Make amends. Because hurting a chosen one is never just between you and them. It's between you and the laws that govern the unseen. And those laws, they always respond. When life pushes a chosen one to the edge, when everything they trusted seems to fall apart, it may seem like they're being crushed beyond repair. But what looks like the end is often just the beginning of a divine transformation. The journey of a chosen one is never easy. They face trials that test not just their strength, but their spirit. They lose people they love, endure rejection, and walk through seasons of deep loneliness. Yet through it all, something greater is happening. Something the eye can't see but the soul can feel. Every loss becomes a lesson. Every heartbreak, a redirection. And every breakdown, a setup for breakthrough. While the world sees only the pain, heaven sees preparation. The crushing isn't meant to destroy them. It's meant to extract what's pure, what's purposeful, what's divine. Just like olives must be pressed to produce oil, chosen ones often find their greatest power in their most painful seasons. It's in the pressing that their true anointing begins to flow. And when they rise, because they always do, they carry a presence that's different. Sharpened by experience, humbled by pain, and aligned with purpose, they no longer fit the mold of who they used to be. They emerge stronger, wiser, and ready for the next level of their calling. The path from crushed to crowned is never straight. It is winding, painful, and full of uncertainty. But for those who are chosen, it's sacred. It's part of the divine cycle, one that turns pain into purpose and sorrow into strength. So if you're in the middle of the crushing, hold on. You're not being buried. You're being prepared. To every chosen one listening, know this. Your tears were never wasted. Your pain has purpose. You were never meant to blend in, because you were born to break cycles, to carry light into dark places, and to awaken souls still asleep to their own power. If you've ever felt the weight of being misunderstood, if you've walked through seasons of sorrow that made no sense, yet found yourself stronger on the other side, then you are not alone. You are part of something bigger, something sacred. You are walking the chosen path. Thank you for spending this time with us and for opening your heart to this message. If it resonated with you, if it stirred something deep within, we invite you to join our growing family of awakened souls. Subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you never miss a message meant for your spirit.